Hello, hello. It's 2024, January 1st, 2024. Hi, everyone. It's time for tapes. I'm still very proud of that intro. Hi. Happy New Year. I just flew in. I just drove in from Wisconsin. Haley and I went up there for the holiday and just came back. It's a 2-day drive. Yesterday we finished like the second half of the drive and then went to a lovely New Year's party. So we're pretty wiped out. But it's a new year. A new year and a new massive collection of tapes. I just drove in and my arms are tired. Yeah, I hope everybody's holiday breaks and travel and New Year's festivities have brought you joy. And if you're as exhausted from all that as I am, well, it's time to just sit back and watch some random videotapes. I do want to point out, so before, oh man, I have to go to the post office because Bella Bunny's giant box has arrived. The newest of Bella Bunny's giant boxes has arrived. I think there's some other stuff coming, or some other stuff that may already be there. So tomorrow when the post office reopens, I'll be going and getting those. Before I left town, I got a pretty huge shipment that is now on the website. I made sure to scan all those before I left, and then while I was up there, I put them up there. So let's look at those real quick. Yeah, I also we were staying at Haley's parents' house, and her parents were like, "Oh, we have all these videotapes," and I was like, trying to hide my VHS weirdo energy while lusting after their collection of very strange tapes. So I took a bunch of those home. Some of them are Haley's family's home movies and things that I'm going to archive for them at some point and not necessarily, use as content. But there's some, Haley's dad had a bunch of, park employee training tapes and stuff. Hey! Welcome, everybody. So I got the most recent, set of tapes up on the website over the break. And another thing I did over the break was to improve the tapes page on goldenvcr.com. You can go to the Explore page, and this will show you... These are all the tapes we have not yet watched that are added to the collection. So you can kind of browse by category, and it's just like you're perusing the shelves at Blockbuster. See what catches your eye. On the tapes page, you now get a full listing of all the tapes that we've ever cataloged. So this is I can sort by newest. The IDs are sequential. And so Sentai Brad sent in a bunch of really cool looking stuff. More Eyewitness tapes. Some computer animation special effects compilations. This one's from 1985 or 85. Oh, there's no back button on OBS browser sources. So I forgot. The Motorola tape. I don't think so. Let's search Motorola. No, I don't remember seeing that one. Is that in your newest shipment? Because I have to go to the post office tomorrow. and get that. Cool. Anyway, we got Eyewitness. We got a bunch of... this is like produced by NASA in 1987 about the Viking missions. We've got some new Hard Hat Harry, GameShark, Brad sent in some Nintendo stuff, like N64 era Nintendo stuff, fitness tapes, this whole series. Cosmic Searle sent in a bunch of stuff, including this whole like box set series on NASA history. Some Mighty Machine stuff. This looks really interesting. I can't find anything about this on the internet. It's just like somebody's like independent film on a VHS tape with no other information. Some of these things I might have to like screen preemptively myself and make sure they don't have any objectionable content, because I don't want to have to like have a kill switch on this stream. But yeah, and then going back in time, more great stuff by Cosmic Searle, An Evening with Louis Grizzard. Yeah, just lots of fun stuff. And then Bella Bunny, I cataloged Bella Bunny's like fitness tape collection that was sent in. Rebel Tech TV has subscribed. Thank you very much. Yeah, so long story short, you can now sort by title or whatever. You can search for like Hard Hat Harry to see all the Hard Hat Harry tapes like this one we've watched, these we haven't. You can search for like the Bella Bunny to get a listing of all the tapes that Bella Bunny has sent in. You can search for like, you can also do, just pro tip, like if you want to like not have fitness tapes in there, you can do minus fitness or like minus religious, and that'll filter it. And then up here we can switch to like only show me the tapes that we haven't watched yet. I don't know if Kubler will be a separate category, but I do also want to point out that I added a secret feature for myself on streams. If I hit a special magic key, it will pick a random tape from whatever I've had pulled up in the list. So I figure we might kind of lean into this today and just look at some random stuff. Maybe some of the more like the more uninteresting looking tapes. We can dip into them and see what they look like, and then only watch 20 minutes. But yeah. We can also just look at the tapes I have favorited. So these are a few that have piqued my interest recently. So I think let's see if we want to start with any of these. Yeah, Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. Ooh, yeah. Eyewitness Pond and River. An Evening with Louis Grizzard. Yeah, okay, let's start with Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. Oh, we can also sort by favorites now, so you can see like the most popular tapes that people have marked as favorite. So as always, I encourage you to go to goldenvcr.com, log in with your Twitch account, and mark tapes as favorite that you want to see. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, Things That Aren't There Anymore is about Seattle. I'm interested in that one just because it looks like a really neat and unique public television presentation. Anyway, that's been enough. That's enough chatter up front. We should watch something. So I'm going to make a decision, and I'm going to say let's watch the railroad tape, because it's only 24 minutes. I know some people have been clamoring for Durango and Silverton in the past. It's been like a vocal minority. I don't know if any of those people are here right now. This is a different sort of time slot than usual. I'm doing a little impromptu thing and also kind of testing the waters for a more West Coast friendly time slot, because I think I might start doing one of the weekly streams in the like late afternoon, early evening, Eastern. Excellent. Will Peters, that's good enough for me. Let's watch Durango and Silverton, Narrow Gauge Railroad. For whatever reason, this cover art really reminds me of like a Dungeons and Dragons manual. I'm gonna go get that off the shelf. Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, the living legend of narrow gauge mountain railroading. 24 minutes, VHS, narrated by C.W. McCall. Cool. Ooh. I like the label on this one. Oh, you can see a stack of tapes behind me that have not been put on the shelf because the shelf is full. I'm going to have to buy a new shelf, thanks to you people. I appreciate you sending in tapes. This is 24 minutes. Happy New Year, everyone. I feel really gross because I did not shower today. In keeping with the low-effort hangover stream vibes. That's how dedicated I am. Okay, tape number 92, Durango and Silverton, Narrow Gauge Railroad. I like the label. Boom. I mean, this is why a lot of people do like VTubing, right? Because you don't have to be like look presentable like you're going to a job when you do it. You don't have to shower or put clothes on. But you know, my theme of 2024 is don't worry too much about showering. Narrated by C.W. McCall. Congratulations! You now own a copy of the original video movie depicting the romance and history of the legendary Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. For over a century, this unique 45-mile stretch of railroad track and the equipment and people who have made it operate have excited the imagination of all who have come to see. Ooh. Sorry. Oh, no. Yeah, the pause is maybe bad. I just wanted to read the back. The director has captured this excitement on video, and narrator C.W. McCall invites you with his pleasant western drawl to take a trip on the Silverton train. Oh, C.W. McCall is, it says here in parentheses, C.W. McCall. Sound. Sorry. I'm just really into this description. It has like a little parenthetical on the back. After it talks about C.W. McCall. It says in parentheses, C.W. McCall is known for his best-selling country music hits, Convoy and The Silverton. So he is, in fact, the guy that wrote, We Got a Great Big Convoy. Here we go.
What
Sorry.
A beautiful sound.
I'm remembering how to do
Echoing,
this. It's been
as it has for over a century, high among the snow-capped mountains of the San Juan National Forest in America's great Southwest. It's the whistle of a steam locomotive, and her year-round job is to pull a famous and historic passenger train, the Silverton. This same kind of coal-fired, steam-powered engine opened up the richest corner of Colorado. It was a mining train, working its way through an area now known for the Indian ruins at Mesa Verde National Park, great ski resorts and pure scenic beauty. We're at the original station in Durango, Colorado. Here, the Silverton train begins its daily trip north into the towering peaks of the Continental Divide. And today we're going to take that trip. A 90-mile adventure-filled ride starting out more than a mile
hoping that
high
the
in Durango.
VHS artifacts chill out a bit.
3,000 feet higher.
We got a lot of static, but usually
town of Silverton.
that happens toward the beginning and into the tape.
It's this trip that has made the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad a living legend, a national treasure. Dawn is just breaking, and things are getting underway in the roundhouse. Engines that worked yesterday are being prepared for today's run. Glowing coals in the fireboxes, carefully tended during the night, need only a little stirring and a few shovels more to be ready. These 5 steam locomotives are like no other engines in the world. The newest one took to the rails in 1925, and though they've steamed hundreds of thousands of miles,
Nom nom, feed me
they're
coal.
all in condition to go just as many more. Well, it's time. The roundhouse doors open, and the iron horse inches from its overnight berth to the turntable.
Okay. I'm making a
Meanwhile,
poll.
the crews are busy with the last of their preparations. The tender is heaped with coal. The car men make a routine but careful inspection along the
I like
string
the
of
Pleasant
gold
Western
and yellow
drawl.
coaches.
But I want your opinion. Sound
The
off now
concession
in the poll.
cars are replenished. Inside the century-old depot, the ticket office and waiting room are a-buzzing with anticipation. A warm fire in the bright nickel-plated stove feels good in the crisp mountain air of a Durango morning. And then they hear it. People rush outside with their cameras to get themselves a picture.
80s camcorders. I love it.
The locomotive slowly backs toward the cars for coupling.
This is
A
1984.
solid clunk from a leading car is the signal to all on board that the Silverton train stands ready.
Silverton
Some
train
passengers are
stands
swapping
ready.
talk with the engineer and the fireman. Others are hurrying to take their assigned seats. Now the conductor makes a final seat check. A few standby passengers who were waiting for an empty seat or two grab their tickets and climb aboard.
I do
The
love
conductor gives the high sign.
There's something magical about like
The engineer gives 2 blasts of the
the
whistle.
ticket counter and the waiting room being all like late
Eases
1800s.
the throttle open.
I love, like, I'm not a train aficionado, but I love this for the same reason that I love like historic baseball parks that are all late 1800s. It just kind of gives you a really quaint vibe. I love the music too. They're really building the anticipation.
As the Silverton cautiously crosses the downtown streets, it's easy to understand why Durango is called the narrow gauge capital of the world.
I've been on Amtrak,
Whistles for each street crossing are answered by waves from town.
but this really makes me want to go on a train where I can just open my
This
window.
historic city has preserved a lot of its Victorian charm.
I really hate how they don't let you open the
With its
window
colorful
on
path
Amtrak.
and surrounded by awesome natural attractions, Durango offers a complete range of vacation accommodations.
Hey,
for
Brad, how
visitors
you
from
doing?
all over the world.
We were just
And in
looking
all
over
4 seasons.
a lot of the new tapes on the website. that you
Picking
sent
up
in.
speed now. The coaches begin that
Identifying
gentle
some
sideways
gems.
rolling motion, characteristic of early railroads. A few steps in the aisle, though, and you'll get your sea legs and roll with the rhythm. Walking around, you'll notice the cars on this train have a little variety. There are the regular coaches, of course, and some open-air gondola cars, which let you have a big sweeping view. Concession cars, and a parlor car, too. Up ahead of all this is the engineer. His skill and experience got him the job and the glamour of running the locomotive, but he's not really the one in charge. It's the conductor, the man taking the tickets, who's in command. He's got the responsibility for making this trip safe, enjoyable, and on time. He's also the man with all the answers. Few passengers can ask questions about the Silverton.
I want a C.W. McCall Donut Man crossover.
The first of 5 strong bridges brings us to the Animas River. It was named El Rio de las Animas Perdidas, or River of Lost Souls, by the Spaniards, the first Europeans to explore this country as they traveled north from Mexico. The original rails for this route were laid
I left a
down
cup
in
of coffee
1881,
and a bowl of
and they follow
walnuts
close
upstairs.
to the course of the
I'll be right
Animas
back.
on up the canyon. High in the mountains, rain and melting snow form countless clear and rushing creeks that become the headwaters of this river. Many of these sparkling streams will be crossed as the train heads to its destination. The clicking of steel wheels on rail joints sets the Silverton's pace at a relaxing 20 miles an hour. Just about our top speed for the day, through this fertile highland with its farms and ranches and a growing suburban population. You know, that valley between those red-striped ridges and cliffs was carved by glaciers less than 1 million years ago. Just yesterday in geological terms. But today it's hard to imagine a glacier big enough to fill it. Here at Hermosa is the first water tank, surrounded by all sorts of rail, spikes, and machinery. You see, the foundation of safety is found among these kinds of things. Keeping that roadbed fine-tuned and free of obstructions is a thankless job, but one that maintenance of way workers have been proud of for generations. Maintenance like this is something of a lost art, something that's been handed down from father to son on this line. Just beyond Hermosa, the passengers become aware of a new sensation, climbing. The valley seems to drop away as a steepening grade yields to more than 100 tons of locomotive and tender. The fireman shovels on more coal. The engineer hits the throttle and the powerful sound of the Silverton echoes off the wooded slopes. The scent of pine mixes with coal smoke as the train is pulled into the folds of a narrow canyon. The river far below cuts its way into a deep gorge. Down there is Shalona Lake. That means we'll soon be pulling into the old frontier stagecoach stop at Rockwood. This meadow, surrounded by high cliffs, is as far up the tracks as today's automobiles can take us. From here on to Silverton, it's up to these locomotives to get us through the mountains.
Narrator is C.W. McCall. He's apparently the guy that wrote or has performed "We Got a Great Big Convoy Rolling Through the Night." You know, convoy. I do like the music in this a lot. It's just making this sound so majestic. I got a big bowl of walnuts and raisins. So I'm too tired to eat to make normal food.
Sure, they're old, but you ought to see what they do to keep them running like new. Ever so often, things have to be replaced, but there's no way to get parts for engines this old, so they make them right here. Now, this is not your run-of-the-mill machine shop.
Yeah, this tape's a little
These folks do complete rebuilds, using tools as big as the job itself.
This is from 1984.
It's all done to keep the engines running sure and strong for years to come.
I'm not sure. It's in like a plastic case.
As we come out of Rockwood, the train seems to pull in its elbow.
But you never know how they were stored.
We officially cross the line into the San Juan National Forest. A few seconds later,
hopefully it's not murdering
passengers
the
on the
bitrate.
Silverton get their first look at the incredible Animas Canyon Gorge. The cars wind around a sweeping curve, and then, slowly, the train moves out onto the spectacular High Line.
Welcome, Dishnet.
Up here, the rails cling to a narrow
We are 12
ledge,
minutes in
400 feet above the
to a
raging
24-minute
Animas
tape
River.
about the Durango and Silverton narrow gauge
It's hard to
railroad.
believe that the roadbed here was blasted from the cliff with black powder.
Narrated by
men
C.W.
dangling from
McCall.
ropes more than 100 years ago. Just as we're coming off the High Line, we enter a heavily forested area. And just the other side of this, the Animas River comes up to meet us. And we
Today
cross
is a very chill,
130-foot-long bridge.
low effort
I
post New
imagine
Year's
old
Eve
General Palmer and his boys had a time
random
building
tape
this
stream.
one. Yep, William Jackson Palmer built this line and all the rest of the Rio Grande Railway. To service all this mountainous territory, his trains would have to go where tracks had never been laid before.
Ooh, a railroad baron. I
Sharp
bet he was a
curves
very
and
nice
steep grades were impossible
person,
for the big
not a son of a
flatland
bitch at all.
trains. So everything had to be built smaller. The locomotives were built to run on rails set just 3 feet apart. And that's why we call this a narrow gauge railroad. It was the only way through these mountains then, and it's still the only way to see this part of the country. This is true wilderness. So don't be surprised if you spot some deer or elk in there amongst the trees. One passenger even saw a mountain lion, although I should mention he saw it from the parlor car. That's the only car that serves libations, you see. And it's called the Alamosa, one of the oldest on the line. And I guess it's fitting that one of the oldest cars is the one that brings out the most interesting stories.
Oh no, old people
When the
from
passengers aren't
1985.
telling them, the bartender is more
Trill
than
isn't
happy
here.
to let go with a few.
And the ghosts on Myers Avenue still boast of the bath he took. Old Bathless Bill lived on Bull Hill, 2 miles from Cripple Creek, and he struck it rich in an open ditch where others scorned to seek. It was near midway, at about midday, we heard his joyful shout. Muckers, skinners, and dance hall sinners all came a-running out. And there Bill stood, with gold as good as any ever found. And damn his hide, his grin was wide as he passed the stuff around. There was
I want to be
Alamosa,
drunk on a
every
train
other
hanging
coach
out
on
with
the
70-year-old
train
people
has a story to
who
tell.
just
Originally built
are
for
living
the
their best
Denver and
lives
Rio
going on
Grande
train
Railway,
like
most
fun
of them had been
trains,
stored in the Durango yard,
listening to
but some were brought in from other parts
a
of
bartender
Colorado
delivering
and states beyond.
cowboy poetry.
Their reconstruction takes place in this building called the car shop. Here they get completely refurbished and carefully tailored back to their original blueprint specifications. Now, I hope you noticed I didn't say almost
Come on,
like
Brad.
or similar to the original.
You don't know that.
In this car shop, the most important thing is authenticity. Even the coal-burning stoves used to warm up many of the cars are the same type they used in the old days. We're coming into Cascade Canyon now, where during the winter, the train is turned around on what we call a Y. Up beyond this point, there'd be snow slides covering up the tracks. But from here on back to Durango, folks who ride the Silverton from November to May get a special treat. Narrow gauge railroading in the silvery San Juan winter.
That train is struggling. some steep grades for a steam locomotive.
It's summer now, though, and we're pressing on into even more awe-inspiring country. One more time we cross the Animas River and enter the land of the glory holes, abandoned mine shafts from long ago.
The land of the glory holes, huh?
And way up above them, the Needle Mountains pierce the sky at more than 14,000 feet. All the timber they needed for mine and railroad construction was cut and floated downstream to a sawmill, which was once located here at Teft. Now the Silverton is the only way to see all this close up, but we nearly lost her. You see, along about the 1920s, automobiles were starting to move around, and things got fancier and faster. That made the train less attractive. By the middle of the century, most of the narrow gauge tracks around Colorado were being torn up, and the Silverton was in line for the same sad fate. The people of Durango and Silverton fought abandonment by the Denver and Rio Grande for years. But in 1981, one man put that fight to rest. Charles E. Bradshaw, Jr., a Florida citrus grower and a man dedicated to historical preservation, bought the Silverton line.
Well, we'll see what else he comes
Charlie,
up
as
with.
he's known in Colorado, quickly set about restoring and strengthening this railroad. Today it runs all year round, allowing us to see this breathtaking country and giving us a real journey through the past. Right now, that journey is slowing down to take on water. We've reached the old mining camp and stagecoach stop at Needleton. Not
Donut
much
holes,
left
holes,
now,
holes.
but once it was the center of operations for hundreds of miners.
Thank you, Brett.
On up the canyon, a couple of 13ers.
Brett, I think your
can be
glory
seen.
hole cheer got somehow
We're going to be
rejected.
surrounded by 13,000-foot mountains all
So
the
you,
rest of the
you
way
can use your
into
points for
Silverton.
something else if you want.
And you'll be able to see where avalanches from those peaks have come crashing down, sometimes covering the tracks.
Thank you for the cheer.
Icy creeks can also be seen flowing into the Animas River. This is a mountain scene very little changed from the way it looked when the train rolled through here more than 100 years ago. The canyon opens up now, and there's our destination, the town that gave its name to the train, Silverton, mining capital of the San Juan Mountains.
Ugh,
Plenty of time here to get a bite to eat.
your bits
walk
went
along
right into the
old
glory hole,
sidewalks,
and I'm sorry about that.
browse through the shops and take in that wonderful Victorian and Western tradition. A tradition that lives on today because Silverton, like the train that once hauled its riches, is being preserved as a registered National Historic Landmark. Some passengers will take a bus back to Durango after their visit, but most folks enthusiastically look forward to the return run down through the mountains aboard the train. That old familiar sound signals our departure from Silverton. Now, heading for Durango, the first thing to strike you is how different everything looks. See, that's because those who were sitting on the left side coming up from Durango were looking out to the west, toward the La Plata Mountains, the Hermosa Cliffs, the waterfalls, and so on. Now, going back, people in the same seats will be looking to the east, toward the tallest peaks and different streams and side canyons and such, all on the other side when we came up. You know, riding this train, it's easy to think you're on another kind of trip, one of another age. And looking out that window, you can imagine you've drifted back 100 years in time. The steam locomotive up ahead, the rhythmic, restful roll of the coach, the clicking of the wheels on narrow gauge tracks, and the unspoiled wilderness outside.
Choo choo.
All is today, just as it was a century ago. And on the Silverton, it'll stay that way every year, all year round. Those glory days you never got a chance to live are still waiting for you on board the Silverton. She was born one morning in the San Juan summer back in 1881. She was a beautiful daughter of the DNRG, and she weighed about 1,000 tons. Well, it's a 45 mile through the Animas Canyon, so they set her on the narrow gauge. She drank a whole lot of water and she ate a lot of coal, and they called her the Silverton.
Ah, train song.
Well, now listen to the whistle in the rockwood cut on the high line of Silverton town. And you're gonna get a shiver when you check out the river, which is 400 feet straight down. Take on some water at the Needleton tank, and then you struggle up a 2-5 grade. And by the time you get your hide past a snow shed slide, you head right on to Silverton.
All I can do is groove. Don't want to interrupt this beautiful song.
Station early in the morning, there's a whole lot of people in line, and they all got a ticket on the train to yesterday, and it's gonna leave on time. Well, it's a 45 mile up the Animas Canyon, so they run her on the narrow gauge. She takes a whole lot of water and she needs a lot of coal, and they call her the Silverton.
Whew, that was great. Yeah. C.W. McCall was an excellent choice for that. I don't know if he had previously written that song about the Silverton or if that was made for this promotion. But that was very good. The Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. Yeah, that song is... I'm putting this in Discord. If you want to listen to the studio recording of C.W. McCall's Silverton later. I also just looked up the Durango and Silverton Railroad. So it's still, it's still around, still being maintained, still a thing you can do. DurangoTrain.com. They're running their winter-spring routes from November 18th to May 3rd. I just looked at it. It's like $160. Oh, okay. If you want like the true first-class Durango and Silverton experience, which is ages 21 plus, which I think maybe includes a drink package or something. Unlimited non-alcoholic beverages. Morning pastry souvenir mug. 1 Durango and Silverton tote bag per couple/group. That first-class ticket is $184 a person. You can ride coach on the Durango and Silverton for $89. So if you're ever in Durango, Colorado, there we go. Okay. Let me look at a few things real quick. We are done with this tape. And okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. If you are someone who has mailed in tapes to the P.O. Box that are now on the website, and you are interested in seeing one of those tapes on this broadcast, feel free to let me know. Other than that, I think we're gonna watch random stuff with the new random button. But yeah, if there's something you wanna see, priority goes to the contributors. Also, let's see. I can't remember if I credited Over Florida. Let's see. Oh, I can also do this now, which is nice. Over Florida. Nope. Florida. Nope. Florida. Over Florida. This is a public television production presented by these Miami public television stations, but produced by KCTS Seattle. And it's similar to the one we watched of Canada, I think, but it's Florida, and it's an hour long. It does look like a neat one, although it's thematically pretty similar to Durango and Silverton. Oh, cool. Yeah, things. This was sent in by I don't know whom, so if you sent this in, let me know. Anonymous person, who may or may not be in the chat right now. That was you, Deb. Okay, I will. Let me add that to the spreadsheet right now. Things that aren't here anymore. Twitch user ID. I enter it on the spreadsheet by your user ID and not your username. So let me look that up. West Coast Deb. West Coast Deb is Twitch ID 507138118. Okay, let me just add that in. Nope. Yes. Also, if you sent in Hard Hat Harry's Real Life Santa Claus Adventures for Kids, let me know who you are. Oh, you sent in the Crayola one, Deb. Awesome. Awesome. I haven't scanned that yet because it's so huge, so it's not on the website yet, but that's the Agatha Christie game. Like, these are special special stream format things that I'm really excited to get to. Yeah, okay. So I can't remember if I gave points to the people who sent in tapes most recently. That Santa was you, Brad? Okay. Hard Hat Harry Santa. I don't think I gave points to Brad or Cosmic Searle. So let me just do that. Thank you for your generous contributions to the Golden VCR Library. Points to Brad. Okay. I can see who I've given points to, but I have to go look in the database, and I don't want to do that right now. So if you've sent stuff in and you didn't get any points for it on goldenvcr.com, I will make sure you get them, but if I haven't yet, feel free to remind me. Okay, things that aren't there anymore, KCTS Seattle. Apparently they're what? Do we want to learn about the Seattle Gorilla, or do we want to... Here, let me do a poll. So here's what we're looking at. We have Over Florida. Actually, let's save Over Florida for later. We have... So these are a couple that Brad sent in that Brad wanted to be here for, that I'm really excited by. This is Computer Animation Magic, a multi-million-dollar special effects collection from 1985. So this is 58 minutes of state-of-the-art computer animation from 1985, which really entices me. And then we have things that aren't there anymore, KCTS Seattle, a fun nostalgic look back at some of Seattle's most cherished institutions. We can learn about the Bobo the Gorilla. So let me, I'll just pull. tape, 80s computer, Seattle Gorilla. 1 minute. Start poll. Tapes. 80s computer has a commanding lead. Yeah. According to the case, it was called Bobo the Gorilla, which would be an odd name for a brothel, but I wouldn't rule it out. Okay, we're watching 80s computer animation, and let's see. Yeah, both of these are an hour. So one's from 85 and one's from 94 and is like an animation festival compilation. So I think we should start with the older one. Okay, I'm gonna go get that. I'll be right back. I'm excited for this one. Okay. A darn good piece of razzle-dazzle, comical, beautiful entertainment. Computer animation magic, a multi-million-dollar special effects collection. Voted Best Animated Program by Video Magazine. An MPI home video release. I mean, Tron was what, 84, 85? Like, this was the very dawn of like 3D graphics being used in actual motion pictures. So yeah, I'm super curious like what we'll see here, whether it's like all film stuff or like research indie stuff. Computer animation magic will take you on a delirious 1-hour trip through a strange and magical world. Transmission from Brad. Oh. What have we got here? Is that a film reel? A darn good piece of razzle-dazzle. That's a lot of people getting razzled and dazzled. To a strange and magical world where anything can be created. Swirling electronic logos, chrome dinosaurs, or a melancholy nightclub piano player. These are just a few samples of the futuristic wizardry you'll witness in this incredible expose on computer graphics. You'll see how computer graphics creates the dazzling flying book from Amazing Stories, as well as the unbelievable stained glass swordsman who comes to life in young Sherlock Holmes, one of the finest electronic sequences in film history. Computer animation magic will lift you up and keep you up. It will lift you up and keep you up for one exhilarating hour. This deftly assembled collection displays the hypnotic works of over 150 production companies and artists from around the world, and it took 2 years to complete. Computer animation magic. It is the threshold of a new era in video realism. I'm excited for this. Let's pop it in. It has been rewound. Hooray. Oh, I left Durango and Silverton in there. Yes, it will lift you up and keep you up. You will be up. You will be keeping it up for an hour. Get ready for that. Computer animation magic. Whoop. There we go. CGI. Digital Vision, home video. Cohen Computer Graphics and Geoffrey de Valois Associates. Chrome dinosaurs. Oh my god, I love this already.
From the start of time, people have communicated thoughts, ideas, information, and fantasies through visual means, using painting, then photography, then film, and now, computer graphics.
Oh my god. I love 3D roller coasters from the 80s. Pixar in '85, man. I've got the volume up a little higher than usual on this. I don't know if I should turn it down. The music is just so good.
The general-purpose computer, called ENIAC, was ordered by the Navy in the 1940s and was the prototype for computers as we know them today. The MANIAC computer was then developed for flight control and the calculation of theoretical problems, and was a true computer in that it could store a program of instructions. It could also play chess with human beings. The first computer which people could communicate with graphically through drawing was developed in the early 1960s at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. By 1970, computers were used at the University of Utah to create actual three-dimensional images with motion. Even attempts at creating the illusion of speech were made.
Of elemental brown of passing universe put on.
The
and
if you've ever seen that teapot model, it's called the Utah teapot because it was developed at the University of Utah as part of that research.
Casual simplicity.
The simulation of flight for training pilots was an early and important use of computer graphics. Today, with computer graphics, a wide variety of effects and looks are achieved, including simulation of reality.
Yeah, like considering how primitive the rendering tech was at this point,
the computer allows us to change points
and how
of view
primitive the
from
tools were, like
to the
some of this stuff
impossible,
looks really good.
and travel in amazingly short periods of time. We can change the world in fantastic ways with computer graphics. Things are transparent, light, floating, or solid, metallic, textured. Glass is created, light sources and colors controlled, and intricate reflections produced. Whole new worlds are created with computer graphics.
Yeah, my like what I focused on in college was 3D art.
Different styles of painting can be accomplished almost like
first,
painting on a canvas.
Like several
The
years of my
Quantel
career
paint
were spent
box
at
is easy for the
an
artist to
animation
use.
studio, like
The computer
working
has
pretty intimately
built-in
with this
geometric shapes
this kind
available,
of technology.
such as squares
Ooh, they have
circles.
squares.
and lines. The on-screen menu at the bottom is used to command the computer to select different operations,
That's some
including
serious
magnifying the area to
resolution
be worked on.
For 1985.
A wide variety of type styles are available. any image can be scanned into the computer
And
and
this is
changed
like pre-Amiga, pre-video toaster.
or retouched.
This was all done on
The
like
use of computer
dedicated
graphics
hardware.
to change reality brings us some interesting questions. Designer Donna Cohen.
There's computers where the resolution is so high that you can never tell that it was ever touched by anything, which raises the whole question of photography as evidence of anything. I don't even think people are aware of how much computer graphics is used today. There's just a whole question now of what is real.
Create a new reality
That's very
by
prescient.
adding an erupting volcano to the San Francisco skyline.
This is like introducing the concept of digital photo manipulation.
Or remove
Oh.
the World Trade Center
Oh, no.
from the New York City skyline.
Oh no. Oh boy. Oh.
The artist saves and retrieves pictures, which can be altered or recalled at any time from the computer library.
1985.
The artist cuts and pastes elements together or shrinks images to any size. Create motion by combining a series of still images.
Yikes indeed. What a fun
A
time.
large number of separate elements were created on the Quantel paint box and then combined into one single finished piece.
The Quantel paint box ran on a Motorola 68,000 CPU. Its introductory price in 1981 was $250,000.
If a two-dimensional picture is rotated, there is no depth and the picture disappears. With a three-dimensional or 3D object, each side of the object exists as in real life, so that when it is rotated, hidden sides come into view.
Ooh, 3D text. Like all of this hardware was
Picture unit or pixel
At
is
this
the
point,
building block of computer graphics.
only affordable to
There are
like
thousands of
huge
pixels available
TV
on the
studios
screen,
and film production
and
companies.
each one can be used and colored separately. Painting with the computer simply involves moving the pen or stylus around,
There was no,
depositing
like,
areas of color.
real
Painted 2D
consumer
backgrounds
or
can be combined
independent,
with 3D
accessible
animation.
version of this technology until like the 90s.
Part of the background is being magnified. So a star can be painted onto the sky above the landscape. On the Cubicomp, a three-dimensional object is built as a stick figure or wireframe model and magnified to change details.
Yes,
the
Brad.
model is now given depth
I
to
think
add a
the
third
image
dimension.
generation model did a fine job
And lighting
making
menu
that
is brought up, and the object is given color.
making
and
that
a light
not
source.
terrible.
Now the other half of the model is built. The full wireframe model is positioned in the 2D landscape scene. Much like traditional film animation, several positions or key frames are made to define exactly where the object will move.
God, this is how long it took to render a single camera view of like a single interactive frame.
With the key
a
frames
wireframe
defined,
model.
the direction and velocity of the movement is next determined through motion choreography.
So tweening.
After adjustments are made, the animator views a completed wireframe test of the motion before the computer generates the finished piece, frame by frame, onto videotape.
I mean, wireframe
Computer
is
graphics
still
is big business,
a thing,
with over $7 billion spent a year in the
but not
United
really.
States alone.
Like you don't really
The
just
majority
look
of
at
the
a pure
computer graphics
wireframe view of
industry is
anything
concentrated
anymore.
in
I would say
computer-aided design.
you look at like
or
you can look at a shaded model with the wireframe on it to like see
Other
the
major
topology
uses
of when
are
you're modeling.
electronic design, business graphics, architecture, and mapping. The images most people have seen on TV
The
are
wireframe
the
was just
smallest
like
part of the business,
the
but have the most public awareness.
Cheapest way to render,
International
like the
audiences
fastest way to
have
render
become
something.
very familiar with the graphics, logos, and commercials
God.
shown nightly on television.
Consomme trop. Un remède, restaure. Restaure combat l'usure interne du moteur. Votre moteur consomme moins et votre voiture reprend des ailes.
This is an amazing French motor oil commercial.
Throughout this program, you will hear the voices of these designers, animators, and artists as they express their thoughts and feelings. It's people. People working with computers who make computer graphics. Television is where mass audiences were first introduced to computer graphics.
The network promotions were all done using backlit film graphics until 1983, I guess, when they started using computer graphics. Now they're all done with computer graphics, and it's really been a change in the type of look.
Pacific Data Images president Carl Rosendahl reflects on the first major piece they produced.
Probably the most exciting was when Entertainment Tonight went on the air the first night. That's the first piece we had done that was on the air
logos
domestically. And here it was a national show. We could pick it up in our own living rooms. And that was incredibly exciting.
Computer graphics are now seen nightly around the world in show introductions, sports and news graphics, and network IDs.
I think I remember that
Wavefront
from
Technologies
that bumper for
founder Bill
Nickelodeon.
Kovacs.
I think computer graphics has affected people's thoughts about television and information by certainly raising their expectations. People now see very high quality graphics every evening on television. They've come to expect that.
Harry Marks designed NBC's new look.
To do something that looked like Vegas. That was all they said. Here's the theme, let's all be there, and we want something that looks like Vegas.
Able Image Research produced the opening sequence of the Amazing Stories television series from these storyboard images. Amazing Stories was designed to open with all the symbols and objects of storytelling from the beginning of time.
Okay, I have a feeling this is
Steven Spielberg wanted 37 objects to fly by in only 45 seconds. That's usually the number of objects used in 3 or 4 30-second TV commercials. Director Randy Roberts.
We had 37 objects, even though they flew by quickly. Each was on about 4 seconds, and each one had to be rendered fully.
Producer Robert Abel.
Every object in Amazing Stories has textures and highlights. Like the skull, you can't tell the difference between the real skull and the one we've created with raster imagery. Even when you don't see all the details, you can sense them. Just look at this book for a minute. The inside is real typography of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. The binding is real alligator leather.
The knight in Amazing Stories had to move in a lifelike fashion. The knight's elbows and wrists had to move along with his head and torso. A live-action swordsman was filmed and turned into the wireframe model, which was used to produce the finished computer-animated knight. Developing a realistic-looking stone head image was another problem. This was solved by making a head and dividing it into segments whose coordinates were fed into the computer.
All of these wireframe, they had to do previs.
Data was then enhanced point by point.
They have
Gould computer
proxy wireframe meshes that are just like super simple rough-ends of the shape so that they can render their animatic.
Input into the computer.
Because there's like no way to preview this in real time on 1980s computers.
A massive amount of information was required to create the images on the Gould computers.
We had people here 24 hours a day. It got insane. There were people sleeping here towards the end. We'd have shifts of people coming in the morning that wouldn't see the people that were working in the night.
God, the render wrangling on fucking tape. That's an absurd amount of like manual labor.
Nowhere else do people see as much sophisticated computer graphics as in broadcast sports. Carl Rosendahl.
Oh, the
With every job, ideally what you want to do is play with things that you've never played with before. Do something that you haven't done. Put yourself on the line where you have to be creative and imaginative to come up with either a new technique, a new look, a new way of doing things, something that makes that job interesting and exciting.
KRON-TV in San Francisco uses the Aurora paint system and its weather graphics package to quickly get the condition or situation across to viewers graphically.
Oh, remember acid rain? Housing shortage equals high rent. Glad we solved that problem in 1985.
Color and lighting is a very important factor.
What a world it would be if we
particularly
hadn't done anything about
where
that.
You're trying to get across a look and a feeling in 10 seconds.
Can you imagine what the rent
You
prices
can
would be
pick
like
some
now?
Perfect blue for your object.
Oh, wait.
But you don't know what color it's really going to be until you light it. If you light it with only red lights, it's going to look purple.
Using this wireframe ball, the number and placement of light sources can be chosen. With a surface now added, the intensity, light color, and texture is specified.
Chocolate rain.
This image can be placed or mapped onto
Acid
the ball
rain
as a
is
reflection.
also chocolate rain.
The same image can then be used as a background
Okay, so they're
behind
doing
the finished ball.
This is like environment mapping
This
for
still
reflections.
life is created using the Alias 3D design workstation.
Look at that workstation.
The animator works on modeling a wireframe apple, which is given several sides.
Oh my God, 80s 3D modeling tools. I love this.
The completed 3D model is rotated.
So this is all NURBS, I'm assuming, like instead of polygons.
A vase is added, and the two models are seen together in perspective.
Like you're just you make like the profile shape of the thing, and then you can
Text
waft
is
it
added
around
and
or do other
extended
things
to
to it.
make it three-dimensional, and then positioned with the other models.
But with
Color
NURBS
is
and
added
curves
to the
like this, you're
models,
not
and the
you're just
final
working in
image
curves and
manipulated for
extrusions
different
of those
looks and
curves
styles by changing the textures,
instead of like breaking it down
lights,
into triangles
and levels
like you
of
would for a
transparency
video
and
game
color.
model or something. NURBS is kind of like it's like a vector raster sort of analogy where you can get like infinite resolution.
Using the Symbolics 3D
it's all
system,
just
the
mathematical
animator
smooth
begins to
curves.
model objects and choreograph motion using wireframes instead of the fully colored object. Wireframe images are collections of straight lines which can be displayed and moved much faster by the animator to test motion before the final piece is computed.
HBO Cinemax.
Using the Wavefront technology system, the Showtime text or logo was formed from individual 3D letters. This wireframe city street scene was built on the Bosch computer system. While the bus pulls away, we move closer to the movie marquee with a traveling point of view. In this low-resolution color test of the same scene, objects now have surfaces and color, but they have a rough appearance and little detail. In the final version, notice that the bus has been given headlights. There are stars in the sky, and lampposts have
It's
been
really
added to
jarring
the
how
town
like this
square.
is the final version. That final version
Also,
looks
with a
like
moving point of view,
pretty similar
we
to
fly
what
through this
like a
complicated
previs
landscape
animatic
of
would look
moving
like
images
these
for
days.
Bravo.
Like that's
Notice
the
that
finished
other
version here
effects
that
have been
took like
added in the finished
days to render
over
is the
content
real-time
of
preview
the
now.
original wireframe test.
It's very impressive for the time.
With the advent of three-dimensional computer animation, different looks and styles have evolved.
Cloth. Cyberpunk NBC. I love low poly fish and low poly bird with teeth. This is really incredible. Thanks again to Brad for sending this in. This is an hour of computer animation magic from 1985. We won't watch it today, but there's also the 1994 computer animation
While this
festival
French commercial
show reel.
shows somewhat limited human motion,
When we
its
watch that, we
sense
can
of
see how much
style
has changed.
is infectious.
How much changed in 9 years. It's like Mike Judge. It's like 3D Beavis and Butthead.
The process of simulating human motion with the computer is extremely difficult. It is much easier to fly a logo than to create believable human motion.
True. Very true. Motion capture was in its infancy, if it existed at all at this point.
"3 years in the making, and at a cost of over $1 million, this award-winning Canadian short story of Tony DePeltry represents the state-of-the-art in depicting human motion. Although the figure itself is exaggerated, notice the subtleties of emotion and movement the animators have created.
It's a beautiful piece. It's got a great character in it. It tells a story. It's emotional. It makes you relate to the person on the screen.
Yeah, that's Jen.
For 27 years, 6 nights a week. Ah, it's tough being an entertainer. Seems I'm not in anymore.
Oh my God, the clipping on the
And now,
clipping on the
it's
armpits.
dust to dust and somebody new comes
They got
up.
like wrist rotation issues going on.
I remember when everyone came to see Tony DePeltry.
I really want to see what the character rig looked like for this.
The ladies and I got
If there even was, like, if character rigs were even a thing at this point. Like, did they have IK on those arms? Did this character model have twist joints in the arms? Could they even do blend shapes at all?
This commercial, called Brilliance, is an extraordinary look into human motion created by Ketchum Advertising for the National Food Processors
Wrench
Association
demons.
and directed by Randy Roberts. Producer Robert Abel explains
Space
the
corn.
process.
The first step was to translate that two-dimensional image that we see on the storyboard into one that works in 3 dimensions in the computer. And that takes a lot more redesign than it looks at first glance, because we had to build the robot and her environment in pieces. It means everything from the smallest finger joint to the torso to the neck to the body parts, the leg, the arm. 18 pieces had to be put together and created for the computer. This entire image really never existed outside the computer itself. The biggest unknown was making her move and bringing her to life. Randy invented a technique he called brute force animation. We filmed a live model and programmed her choreographed movements into the computer. The computer tracked reference points painted on her body and created a stick figure animation, which we call a vector graphic.
Okay, so that's
A
very,
vector
very
graphic,
rudimentary
or
optical
wireframe
motion
model,
capture.
was created on the computer and animated with the face of the real model converted into an astonishing simulation of real life.
The robot, her movements, the details, each reflection, the magic she does with the food, getting all of that into an environment and then adding Jupiter into the picture window. Well, that's millions of bits of information that the computer has to chew through.
Those millions of bits of information took 3 computers used round the clock for a month to process the images for the final commercial. Perfect fluidity of human motion is transformed by the animator with the computer into the captivating images of the future.
This is like, it's a really smart use of the technology, like working around the limitations. Like realistic human animation with like deformations of the joints and everything wasn't really that feasible. Sponsored by the Canned Food Information Council.
Into an increasing
it was a commercial for canned food.
TV viewers. Ad agencies have
but like having it be a robot where you're just like rotating
generated TV
around
commercials.
mechanical joints kind of hides those imperfections and lets you make it all shiny.
Designer Donna Cohen.
Right now, the most exciting work is
like we
the
didn't have
commercials.
We didn't have realistically
They get to have
rendered
the
humans
most resources,
flesh
they have the most money and
until
the best talent.
like the 2010s.
TV commercials which combine computer
if you've ever watched
graphics and
the
live action seem to
the
have
Final Fantasy, The Spirits
originality of
Within,
all
the
their
Final
own.
Fantasy movie, where like all their skin just looks like plastic because we didn't have like subsurface scattering with like the light going through your skin or anything like that. The rendering models just weren't that sophisticated.
An artist at Cranston Surrey Productions in Ohio prepares a storyboard for a TV commercial showing each visual scene in the order it will appear in the finished commercial. The animator uses a real pair of glasses as a model for a drawing on the computer.
Schlub
The
draw.
drawing is traced into the computer using a mouse. The computer produces a three-dimensional model from the drawing.
Line drawing, digitization.
The model is easily moved in its wireframe form. Using video camera input, real pictures of clouds are placed or mapped onto models of the gears. Several completed still frames are made to check the color and light.
You couldn't store a high-res image.
It's a rough version for motion before the final commercial is recorded
You
onto
had to use
either
an
videotape
analog
or
video signal to project clouds into your environment map because you couldn't store a high-res image. Like they didn't have the memory for that. Like so many absurd technological constraints that just like we hadn't been far enough up on the curve yet to like make it feasible to use
American
textures.
and international businesses are finding computer graphics an important and vital tool.
It's just
in their
amazing how
offices.
like quickly this stuff developed and changed as computers got better.
Bill Kovacs.
I think in 5 years, any self-respecting departmental head, when he goes in to make a presentation to the board at a Fortune 500 company, will be embarrassed if he doesn't have moving graphics to show.
Corporate communications are rapidly becoming dependent on computer graphics. Historically, business graphics have evolved from the needs of companies.
If you don't have
to
3D
display
spinning
numerical
logos in your
data.
PowerPoint
Industry
and
uses
3D bar
computer
graphs,
graphics
get
to
the
aid in
fuck out of the
sales and
boardroom.
training.
Thank you, Bill Bunny. That was a very
With
sexy
the
robot.
medium of 3D
And a very sexy
graphics,
pie.
it became possible to break out of flat pie charts and bar graphs into creative spatial representations.
So unnecessary.
The computer has proven to be an invaluable tool in the design of products. For this hairdryer, varying amounts of transparencies were assigned, allowing the industrial designer to study how components work together and look in finished form while they're still being developed.
Yeah, that was the wild thing about the 80s and 90s. Like when you were...
Nowhere is it more important than
everyone
in the
was
automotive
so
industry.
aware of
Before computer graphics
how
tools were
quickly
available,
technological
a car designer had to
development
build models
in
of
computers
clay,
was
wood,
happening.
and plastic. With today's computer-aided design, or CAD,
and like the ripple effects
designer
of
is
that,
free
what
to
that
try out
allowed you
many
to
more
do.
possibilities in a short period of time. This gives manufacturers the leading
It was
edge.
unpredictable and exciting.
Instead of redesigning models with clay, they can be changed quickly with the
And
computer.
now all the things that we were like...
Not only can the designer visualize the part,
all the technological
but the
growth
latest
that we're
systems
like
can test the
unsure
material's properties
of
and
where we
interaction
are
with
on the
rest of
on the S
automobile.
curve, like, you know, general AI and
With
stuff.
design accomplished,
All of that
parts
is
are
exciting,
automatically
but
built, and
in less of a like,
computer-controlled
oh, it's going to
robots
make the
work
world
on
so much
auto-assembly.
better way, and in more of
Animated
a like,
computer simulations are used to develop
what
and
if it
evaluate
what
handling
if it destroys our
characteristics of vehicles
society way?
and visually demonstrate their performance. In architecture, buildings are designed and previewed from all angles and sides through the use of computer graphics.
Sometimes it's nice to go back to
Bridges and
1985
towers
for a bit.
are examined as well as buildings. Using AutoCAD, the computer gives us a closer and closer view of San Francisco's Transamerica Pyramid, until we can actually work on designing the specific interior of one person's office. Each of the possible design elements in this
never
floor plan
have that
are
all in one
explored
scene.
and changed quickly. Designers study and share information with each other while their computers communicate on a common design plan. This courtyard area has just been given new parking spaces. A solid model of a downtown city block is built, and the viewer is free to move around it or over it.
I mean,
Finally,
Apollo
a
13,
complete simulation of what the
I
finished
would argue,
building
was
will look
successful.
like, inside and out, is made on the computer.
because everyone made it back alive. Apollo 1 was sadly very unsuccessful.
Worldwide information is easily understood when displayed graphically using the computer.
Oh boy, nuclear states.
Geologists convert flat 2D information into three-dimensional landforms for seismic studies, mapping, and topological engineering. The high-speed Pixar computer is used to build this 3D terrain model and for geophysical analysis of the underground salt dome to search for oil.
Looking for oil in all the wrong places.
Computer graphics are used to reveal the world.
Wait, yeah, why was
inside
Pixar
the
looking
human
for
body.
oil?
These multiple black and white CAT scan views of a human pelvic region were input into the Pixar computer, which assigned different colors to the bones and soft tissues. Different views were calculated and then displayed using 3D animation.
Mercia, the Anglo-Saxon kingdom.
At Pacific Presbyterian Medical Center in San Francisco, computer graphics is used in reconstructive surgery to provide 3D views. The operation is actually planned using the computer, and a visual simulation of the surgical outcome is previewed. The computer information is used to automatically
Was Tandy a
machine
leather
molds
company?
for
I know
production of
Coleco was a leather
custom bone
company.
implants. The result is greater surgical accuracy, better preoperative planning, and shorter and safer surgery. In science, computer graphics allows the viewer to travel far inside the human body, to study the smallest details, to simulate the invisible so that we can see it. Faculty and students at the University of North Carolina are able to interactively view this simulated enzyme molecule using an Evans and Sutherland computer system. Nelson Max has spent years studying and animating how DNA, the building blocks of life, work.
Computer representations that can show those surfaces are useful for chemists who are studying how molecules interact. Or how can DNA deform to open up to allow a drug to go inside? What I show in the animation is the DNA actually twists open to make a hole, and the drug then comes in and slides into the hole.
A tomato plant virus is studied, with the protein in yellow linking 3 subunits of the molecule together. A more complete view shows the yellow protein linking many molecular subunits. The simulation of flight for training pilots was one of the first and largest practical uses of computer graphics. A simulation system comes very close to matching the thrill of flying. What
plane moves like that?
Flight simulation systems have become so advanced that the images they produce seem real. With the Evans and Sutherland real-time system,
Thank God this one's 60
these
FPS.
images are being used interactively, with the operator able to control how the plane moves.
I would hate to be in a
The concept is similar to playing a fast
80s
video
flight
arcade
simulator.
game. But here, the images are finely detailed. A complete flight simulation system can cost over $8 million to buy. Harry Marks.
The ultimate system is real time. A flight simulator is a very expensive piece of equipment. They're working in real time at a stunning level of realism.
Paging Paul. Friend Paul. You may find this relevant. Yeah, like that being real time in '85, even
This
with $8
simulated
million,
space shuttle
I
landing
don't know
gives
how they would have
pilots
done
the
that.
opportunity to practice delicate and vital maneuvers as the shuttle responds instantly to every command during the landing. Stanford University uses the Bosch computer system to simulate the shuttle docking with a space station and life inside the station.
Oh, hell yeah, those like video roller coaster things.
The building of a working lunar
remember one at
colony
the,
is visualized, and the completed colony has visitors in this projection of the future.
They had one of those at the
Back in 1781, the first planet to be discovered by telescope
Huntsville
was
Space
sighted.
and Rocket Center in Alabama.
A little over 200 years later, in
And I'm sure they had the same
1986,
ride in a bunch of different
that
places,
planet,
but it was like
Uranus,
a Mars
was
mission.
visited by the Voyager
It was one of
2
those roller,
space
like
probe,
enclosed
as we
roller
see
coaster
here in a
VR
computer
things.
simulation made by Dr. James Blinn of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California. Computer images of Uranus and its rings are both visually stunning and scientifically correct. The computer simulates the anticipated visit to Neptune by Voyager 2 in 1989. The use of computer animation is not limited to peaceful scientific explorations of space, as these British simulations of a nuclear war above Earth show.
Just what we need. A nuclear war above Earth.
To look into the future using computer graphics.
Please put nukes and
see where the stars will be years
lasers
from
into
now, and
orbit.
where they have been in the distant past provides wondrous new information.
That will never have any bad consequences.
Computer graphics plays an ever-expanding role in understanding the universe.
When I was working on 3D animation, we used like cobbled together computers,
The birth of our solar
like
system
workstations.
is simulated here on the computer using 3D animation to visualize the process of creation millions of years ago.
They were like custom built by some local guy. They weren't like HP workstations or anything. They had NVIDIA Quadro graphics cards in them.
The award-winning film, Quest, A Long-Ray's Journey into Light, was made by some of the staff at Apollo Computer in Massachusetts during off hours. 50,000 hours of computing time and over 100 computers were used to complete this complex journey into this fantasy world. Highly reflective surfaces are created here in the computer using a process called ray tracing, in which an imaginary beam of light is traced as it would bounce from a light source to an object to the viewer's eye. This time-consuming process creates highly detailed and spectacular images.
Yeah, when ray tracing has always been like ray tracing is a technique that holds up. It's like physically tracing the photons to give you realistic reflections and bounce lighting and stuff. And it's always been very, very cool looking and very physically accurate. but very difficult, like very time-consuming to render, because you have to, for every like photon, you have to follow it, trace out its path and everything. So when real-time like hardware-accelerated real-time ray tracing came out with the like RTX 2000 series several years ago, the fact that that was like becoming viable for real-time, yeah, exactly, was like pretty
images as
rad.
complex as these produced by Digital Production Scene Simulation for Rockwell International, up to 1 million beams of light are calculated.
Oh God, the Earth is made of steel trusses. It's all trusses inside.
Texture mapping begins with a simple wireframe shape made three-dimensional with the computer. Then the completed object is shaded, and a marble texture is scanned into the computer and retouched to add more color to the marble texture. Finally, the texture is wrapped around or mapped onto the completed model and moved into the final scene. The ability to alter texture, along with lighting and color, provides an endless and beautiful variety of forms. The jug is completely simulated. The designer creates light and reflections with the computer the way we see it with our own eyes. Using a Cray supercomputer, Digital Productions in Los Angeles shows their ability to completely change almost any object or texture to another. Animation designer Jeff Kleiser.
The reason I think reality is of interest to people who are writing computer programs for simulating things is once you can suspend the viewer's disbelief in looking at a scene or an object, you can then do something with that object which is not possible in reality. That's where the fun is for me, is where you're not sure if you're seeing a real object or a synthesized object, but the payoff is when the synthesized object can behave in an unreal way or do something that would not be feasible in reality.
Computer graphics combines man and machine with the ability to create new awareness and new realities. Consultant Louise Ledeen.
There are things you can do with computer graphics that you've never been able to do with any other medium. It's being able to create life.
The computer has now flowered into a powerful tool for creative minds. The art form known as landscape takes on new meaning when computer animation is applied to the form. Painting with computers became possible when artists were introduced to the new technology. Donna Cohen.
I view the computer as a tool, much the way a painter views a paintbrush, a writer uses a pen. It's just another tool which enables us to bring a lot more elements together.
I did catch that, yeah.
Jeff Kleiser.
The impetus behind using computer graphics is to get a new look, to do something that hasn't been done before.
Louise Ledeen.
They're the people in the culture that have historically made the most visually significant statements about their times. And if anyone can find the beauty in a technology, it's an artist. And I think that's been proven throughout history in any form of industrial art, from weaving to pottery and now into this realm. So I think people take that responsibility very much to heart when they create work. Just like there are a lot of different styles in painting, there are many different styles in computer art.
CMYK Starry Night.
Nelson Max talks about Yoichiro Kawaguchi.
Yes.
When he was young, his interest was as a naturalist. He loved birds and sea creatures and insects, and spent a lot of his growing up looking at natural life forms. And then when he got into computer graphics, his images are inspired by these natural light forms. He ended up teaching himself computer graphics before there were systems that he could use.
I mean, I really appreciate the perspective this early on of, like, computers are tools. It's a tool, it's a medium. It's yet another avenue for artistic expression. It's up to you as an artist to figure out how to, how you want to use it. POV ray?
Although developed by the military and the government, computer graphics
is that a renderer,
have become a part of
V-Ray?
life for many in our society, especially children.
The pre-rendered stuff we did was rendered with
computer graphics by video games.
Mental Ray and then with Arnold. That's a renderer, yeah.
Ask yourself now, how do they know it's the same place? Bury, my friend, bury.
I love this.
You will need to find that bury and bring her to the surface, if you can.
Computers have become widely available and educational.
Let's make a picture of the problem. We know that 20 miles is 90%.
Why did the cactus turn into a scale?
We have to find out what percent 8 miles is.
What the hell?
The Teleguide is an interactive computer display terminal which provides free information on a wide variety of topics and is found in cities in the western U.S., Mexico, and Japan. Aurora President Dick Schaup.
Computer graphics certainly has the potential to enable communication between people on many levels to be a lot better, to be a lot easier, and a lot clearer.
Computers have become easier to use, enabling inexpensive home computers to produce graphics. Painting with a computer is fun. Computers and music are natural together, both for learning to play music and as a professional tool for musicians.
I wonder what Microsoft Sam looks like.
Combine home computer graphics and music, and some surprisingly complex ideas can be communicated easily, such as in this cartoon, Lone Breaker.
When I was a kid, we had a 286 running DOS. But my dad also owned an Osborne 1 that I played around with as a kid, which was the first portable computer. It had two 5 1/4-inch floppy drives, no hard drive. It ran CPM.
Students at Sheridan College in Canada produced this piece under the direction of Robin King.
Yeah, we had Apple IIs at school. We had an Apple IIc, which were like the older monochrome ones, but the kind that was like popular in schools, like the later model. I mean, I think Apple II GS had color monitors. I thought that was Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's a very poorly balanced pool table. Ooh, I love the clown. clowns.
Oh, this will be fun.
Oh, I hate the
Come
clowns.
on inside. Here, how about going on a nice little ride?
Oh, that's amazing.
Andre and Wall-E B, made by Pixar for Lucasfilm, illustrates the ability of designers and animators to completely create a short story cartoon using 3D computer animation.
It's like the original Pixar short, right? When was the guy playing chess? Jerry's Game. Oh, that was 1997. Wow. Although, was the chess short like a remake of an earlier one? I guess not.
The Bosch 3D system was used by Rushes in England to create these computer-animated cartoon characters.
Oh. Now these just look like characters from a 2023 indie game. I love it. I was looking away. Was there actual boobs? I just saw it from behind.
Pixar produced this sequence for Lucasfilm for the movie Young Sherlock Holmes, in which a priest hallucinates a stained glass figure coming to life and menacing him. The priest was filmed on location in a church with the computer-generated stained glass man being added later. It took the 6 designers and animators 6 months to finish the computer animation.
Okay, yeah. For the 80s, this is like composited really well. The art style and like the translucency of his body. The fact that he was like made out of shards of stained glass. The like dim monochrome lighting of the scene. It's another instance where they're like really playing to the
and animated
strengths
objects
and hiding the
is
weaknesses
accomplished
of the
here
medium very well.
inside the computer. More commonly, 1-inch video editing and video effects machines are used to composite live action together with computer animation in post-production. In this British piece, Picture Gallery, the museum was filmed live action, while the moving form was created as a video effect. The flying 3D solids were animated on the computer before being combined together in editing with the live action.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is giving me Eyewitness vibes. So yeah, I don't know, like, I guess this is I don't know if they're using motion control. I assume not. That it's just like a simple enough fly-through that it's not that hard to track. This reminds me of the Chocobo races at the Golden Saucer in Final Fantasy VII.
Most exciting potential is storytelling. And being able to do whatever the computer graphic equivalent of a cartoon is. Being able to tell a story with wonderful characters in it and make people laugh and enjoy it.
Boy, that was really great.
Some incredible work has come out that wouldn't have been able to have been done any other way. So I think when computer art is good, it's incredible. Because it hits you from two different directions. It hits you artistically and aesthetically and emotionally, and then it also hits you technically. And you can be wowed from both directions at the same time. Getting both your left side of your brain, the right side of your brain, excited over the same thing. It's a great rush.
That's a neat way of looking at it. Like that it's
in computer graphics,
such a blending of technology and art.
Very seductive. You have incredible ranges of colors to deal with.
Oh my god, the credits are getting faster.
Large numbers of palettes to choose from.
The paint systems particularly are tremendous fine art tools because they're very forgiving, they're very fast. You can change things very quickly. It's not like doing an oil painting or a watercolor where if you lay down a wrong color, you sort of start over again.
Huntsville, London, San Diego, Los Alamos.
The reason some of us are building tools for video graphics, trying to enhance man's ability to communicate by creating pictures and images.
And I think the value of any one of these systems.
Yeah, I'm trying to read the credits and I'm getting like nauseous.
The person who's sitting there operating.
I gotta stop.
It really has very little to do with the computer.
Computer graphics it's part of my life.
Don't look at the credits.
It's here to stay. I look forward to the new tools. I fantasize about the new computers that I'll have, about the new tools that will be available, and about the new things that I'll do with them.
Beautiful. Ooh, for a free MPI home video catalog, send a postcard to this address. Is MPI Home Video still around? Probably not. MPI Media Group. Oh, they still are. I guess. They own a stock footage archive. Really branched out. Boy, that was really great. Thank you again to Brad for sending that one in. Those are some good computer fantasies. This was Computer Animation Magic, a multi-million-dollar special effects collection from 1985. As a reminder, we also have, we can watch this some other time, Computer Animation Festival Volume 2.0, which Brad also sent in. It's 22 short films. They were screened up. Well, I don't know if it's an actual in-person festival or if that's just the name of the tape. But it's like a collection of notable computer animated shorts from 1994. So that looks pretty neat too. As for what's next, let's see. We can watch something that, if there's something from the Bella Bunny collection that we want to watch, or if Cosmic Surl is here, we can maybe look at some of those, or we can try and look at one of these like more popular favorited tapes, or we can pick something at random. Who knows? Be thinking about what you want to see. I'm going to take a quick break and run 3 minutes of ads while I do that. And in the meantime, think about your tapes. I got a little dizzy from watching those incredibly fast-moving credits, so I'm gonna just cool my jets for a second, and we'll be right back. Oh no, don't play that. OBS is a little inflexible sometimes. I still haven't figured it out. Running ads, be right back. Oh man, Buttercream Gang. Yeah, I don't know. I do at some point want to add the ability for the Golden VCR platform to know who is currently in the, like, watching the stream, because then it'll be able to pull. It'll be able to look at tapes not just based on who has favorited it, but who has favorited it, who is currently there to watch it. So we can, like, you know, I can build in a thing where it, like, picks a few random tapes that have been favorited by people who are watching. Or it can, like, you know, if you're the person who sent in a tape and you definitely want to be there when it's watched, you can mark it as a favorite, and then I could use that information to, like, make sure automatically and not have to, like, manually worry about it. If you're in the stream, it'll be considered, and if not, oh wait, did this? The ghosts do not show up on the outro screen, which is what I'm currently using as a BRB screen. Golden VCR. Thank you, anonymous person whose name we did not see. Let me just, where is that overlay? Up, 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 up. Up, up. Up, up. Okay. Now this should work. Anyway, thank you, subscribers, for hanging out while I run ads. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm not cool enough to have more than 10 seconds of ads. Oh. I don't understand Twitch. It's fine. Wow. Yeah, maybe they just don't have ads. Maybe no one wants to pay to run ads on this segment of relatively new VHS streamers with 50 viewers. Yeah, I don't love running ads. If you run 3 minutes of ads, it disables pre-rolls for an hour. So, I like it for that. And if I'm going to take a break anyway, I may as well. Yeah. I'm really banking on the hope that the FBI has better things to do than prosecute me for screening, arguably to a private audience of friends, in a private digital residence, obscure tapes from 40 years ago. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming to my home. Okay, let's go back to this. Tapes. So many tapes. Okay, let me reload this page so we can see. Wait, that's not it. So we can see all the new favorites. Okay. The Oh, fun. Now this is just frozen. There it goes. Thank you, OBS. Of all the tapes we have not watched, I'm going to exclude fitness because I don't want to take my shirt off and jump around on camera right now. We could watch I mean, I'm down for a longer one. Like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has been on here for a long time. It's 95 minutes, but this is a pretty chill stream where we could knock that out. Or we could, yeah, the Nintendo tapes Brad sent in. So there's Nintendo 64 changed the system, which announced the launch date of the N64 and had a bunch of promos for early N64 games. Well, I like to think that my nipples are male presenting, but I haven't read the terms of service in a long time, so who knows. Brad also sent in Banjo-Kazooie, a Blockbuster promo tape, and Diddy Kong Racing promo tape. Oh yeah, Brad also sent in, where is it? Hack. GameShark Pro. How to hack like a pro, Nintendo 64 version. So, tell you what. So those, Brad, I actually don't have. Those are new, so thank you. The ones I do have are the Donkey Kong Country Nintendo Power Tape and the Rumble Pack Star Fox 64 one. So I have those. I just haven't added them to the library. I mean, I meant like this shirt. Ah, thank you, Bella. Howdy, Chibi. So I'm going to make a poll, and it's either going to be Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, a Nintendo tape of our choosing, or random. Do not underestimate the power of random. It doesn't necessarily... I'm going to use my discretion and like pick a random one that I feel like would be a good one to watch. So we'll keep going random until we hit one that makes sense. And we haven't randomed before. At least not with this new feature. Oh my god, Bella Bunny has gifted subs to Faylina and Padawan Becca. Thank you, Bella Bunny. We do have mucus. We do have mucus. There's 20 more minutes of mucus. Although I really like... And Bella Bunny has gifted a sub to West Coast Deb. Thank you. Thank you, Deb, for being a subscriber. Thank you, Bella Bunny, for your generosity. You have been given points. Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of... I want this VOD to be a good one because the 3D thing is really great, and I don't want to sully it with mucus immediately after. So, yeah, let's not do mucus. Tape. So we're going to either do random selection, we're going to do something in 64, or we're going to do Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. This is a poll. It has begun. Pick your poison, folks. The VCR, I mean, the VCR is very audible rewinding. Yeah, you can hear it whirring away. If that's what you mean, like mechanically, yeah. It looks like N64 is in the lead. This is somehow less fun than me butchering Christmas carols with my eyes closed. but I don't really know how I would adapt mystery karaoke to to this poll process. Something at 64. Okay. Well then. Brad, why don't we let you tell us what tape, which of these 4 tapes, all of which are something in 64, you think we should watch? Hack it? Okay. GameShark Pro. How to hack like a pro. Nintendo 64 version. Let's go get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, the label's just upside down. It has been rewound. Be right back. Okay. This is the very classic Memorex T120 tape packaging, into which has been shoved this tape, which I presume maybe didn't come with a case, because I believe it was a pack-in with the GameShark. Yeah. So this is by Interact. GameShark Pro, How to Hack Like a Pro, Nintendo 64 version. Oh, and it says here, video length estimated 15 minutes. GameShark. Shark? Yeah. Yeah, that's the spreadsheet. Okay, so this is GameShark. How to Hack Like a Pro. Yeah, all of the N64 promo tapes are probably about 15 minutes too. Let's get this in here. I've been yapping for far too long. I had a Game Genie for Super Nintendo. I never had a GameShark for anything past that point. But yeah, the GameShark was a cheat code device for... Oh!
Where's the kid?
Oh, this is going to be so great. I do need to rewind it slightly. So from that quick glimpse, boy, that was... This is an elaborately produced instructional tape for how to use your GameShark on your Nintendo 64. Oh, looks like we made it to the beginning. It's clear. And let us play. The VCR is working to get to the start of the tape. I really do love the how to hack angle, as if putting codes into your GameShark is hacking the game. All right, we are tracking. Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Let's go.
Oh my God.
Where's the kid?
He's upstairs.
When they come to take your computer away, make sure you carry on like a crazed, bloodthirsty maniac.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Your hacking days are over.
Because when they realize you didn't use it to steal all the secrets of the gaming industry.
There's nothing here.
What?
I don't know what to tell you.
You and your Sharkwire Online better be on a slow boat to China.
What the hell is this?
Hi!
too much.
This is so 1990s. This is so late 90s. I love it so much. How to hack like a pro.
Interact Accessories welcomes you to the mind-blowing world of video game enhancements with our new GameShark Pro. The GameShark Pro, which is more technologically advanced than any other game enhancer on the market today, promises to take your gameplay to higher levels. It's jam-packed with great new features. Let's take a look. The GameShark Pro is loaded with hundreds of codes for more than 100 Nintendo 64 titles, so you're assured that all the biggest and best games are included. GameShark Pro contains enough memory to hold hundreds more GameShark codes. And the one new feature that makes the GameShark Pro the ultimate video game
kilobytes and kilobytes of memory.
Code generator. Code Generator gives you the power to produce your own jaw-dropping, game-winning GameShark codes. So why wait for cool new codes when you can produce them yourself? In this video, you'll discover how the GameShark Pro will revolutionize your gameplay, arming you with the power to load the most devastating codes available, and even showing you how to take things a stage further and create your own havoc-wreaking codes of destruction.
I love the green screen artifacts on his shirt.
The GameShark Pro is preloaded with a huge range of powerful GameShark codes, and using them couldn't be easier. From the hundreds of Nintendo 64 titles available on the GameShark Pro, select the game you've loaded from the game selection menu, then choose the codes you want to tailor the game to how you want to play it. Sometimes certain games won't work with the GameShark Pro until a special key code is activated. Now here's a list of Nintendo 64 games that require the use of a key code in order to work with your GameShark Pro. GameShark Pro comes preloaded with key codes for all of these games, and these key codes must be activated before the use of the GameShark Pro with one of these titles. However, since these games will not work with the GameShark Pro until the key code has been activated, you must first insert
They're not making this sound easy.
Pro in order to access the menu screen and activate the key code.
This is just a guy reading the manual to you.
To do this, simply choose a game that you know does not require a key code to work with the GameShark Pro. This will be your setup cartridge. Now we shall use GoldenEye. Since you want to play Zelda 64, go to the key codes menu and select the Zelda 64 key code by pushing the analog stick up or down to highlight the desired code and pressing the A button to select it. Because we have the Zelda 64 cartridge, we can select yes at the warning screen and press the A button. Once the key code is activated, turn off your Nintendo 64 system. Remove the GoldenEye setup cartridge and insert the game that required the key code, then turn the system on again. The GameShark Pro's main menu will appear and you can select your codes or start the game. If you don't have the key code game available, do not select yes at the warning screen. If you do select yes, then the next time you use the GameShark Pro, the game that you've activated the key code for must be inserted. Be warned, the GameShark Pro will not function until the game is inserted into it.
You can brick your GameShark?
Some of them may require new key codes. Be sure to check out the GameShark website to find out more information about them. You can also read more about key codes in the Using Key Codes section of the GameShark Pro instruction manual.
Yeah, so all of these like cheat devices worked with,
allows you to view the contents.
They're doing like basic memory manipulation,
up to 123 pages in size. Follow the simple
which gets
instructions to load, save, and
harder and harder. Like all these key codes are like having to. You're doing this key code stuff because you need to bypass like cheat detection or DRM in the game itself.
You can even trade these saves with friends using Interact.
And then in this generation, like dynamically allocated memory was a thing where like things aren't going to be at the same address.
The GameShark Pro has a built-in image viewer that allows you to see graphics stored in the system memory the last time the freeze.
So this is getting like just more and more convoluted.
So you can view graphics that would not normally be viewed during a game. Every keen game player is aware of the increasing levels of sophistication arriving with each new game that hits the shelves. Games are becoming increasingly more challenging, not only to novice players, but to hardcore gamers too. And no matter how we grade ourselves in terms of game-playing dominance, sometimes we need help. And to meet this need, many game publishers now embed special effects into their games that allow you to bend the rules. You commonly find special moves, level skips and so on, which are unleashed with the use of codes or fancy controller moves. GameShark Pro redefines the rules, letting you set the agenda. Now get ready, because we're going to teach you how to play and hack games like a pro using the GameShark Pro. Please understand that hacking your own GameShark codes may be a little difficult at first. After you study this video and actually try to find codes on your own a few times, you'll start to grasp some concepts of video game coding and the hexadecimal system used when hacking for GameShark codes. How does the GameShark Pro tilt the odds in your favour? Well, it starts with the codes. A GameShark code is a special routine that affects the way a game actually works. You can select any number of powerful codes to arm you with the ability to blast your games wide open. This means you can play a game with infinite life or health, infinite ammo, extra vehicles, extra weapons, and so on. Whether you want to simply load in codes to enable you to complete a particular level, then disable them and go it alone, or if you want to really cheat by playing an entire game using the codes, the choice is yours. Before we look at how GameShark codes work, you'll first need to understand
Yeah, I'm not sure
functions.
whether you're being serious or not.
Racing, adventure, or shoot 'em up title has a built-in table of events that holds the
I know Chumbawamba is very
variables. This area might contain
very
values
lefty,
for the
so
current level, energy status, number of lives.
I would be
and so
very
on.
surprised if they
For
were
gameplay,
doing
if,
like
for instance, a life is lost, then the value at a
selling
particular
out like
memory
this.
location is reduced to reflect the new lower life value. Likewise, if the game player moves on to the next level, then a different value within memory will be increased accordingly. From this, you can see that you can actually affect the way a game's engine works. You have the ability to control these values by preventing the game engine from changing them in the normal way. GameShark Pro has the ability to prevent the values in memory from being modified by the game, and it actually takes control of these locations by forcing alternative values into them. This is done by the use of GameShark codes. A GameShark code
This is the worst explanation.
The first part is quite simply the address of the memory location that we wish to take control of. This might be the location that controls lives, for instance.
Like I have prior knowledge of how this
For instance, if this
stuff
location
works.
normally contains only 2 lives, then
But
a
without
GameShark
that, it's
code's
just like
extra lives might read like this.
a lot of
where 9
words.
equals 9 lives.
And this music is making it very difficult to process language.
Code Finder is just for you. GameShark Pro has a powerful code generator system which allows you to find and create your own GameShark code. Operation of this feature is quite simple, and you can soon be producing GameShark codes equal to those already available. One important point here is that to use the code generator feature, your Nintendo 64 must be fitted with a 4 meg RAM expander. Once your console is equipped with a RAM expander, you're ready to start using the code generator. The easiest way to demonstrate this feature is by example. From GameShark Pro, start the game as you would normally, without any codes enabled. Look for any element you would like to change, for example, number of bullets, lives, or money. So in this case, we want to make Duke's pistol bullets unlimited. To go about finding this code, press GameShark's freeze button, which takes you into the in-game menu. Select Code Generator option. From within this menu screen, select Known Value Search. From the next menu, select Equal To.
Like this is how
Here we will enter the value 48, as this represents the number of bullets Duke has. GameShark tells us there are over 10,000
this is like
possibilities.
the same process that
we
you
go
use
back
in
into the
like
game.
cheat engine
We need to change our number of
nowadays
bullets. So to do this, we
to do
fire
this basic
once.
kind of like memory manipulation.
Okay, so we now have 47
Oh,
bullets.
What is up with that?
Press the freeze button
grip?
again. The known value search menu will appear. Select Equal To and enter the new value 47. Now we have only 2 possibilities. So we select View Search Results. The codes we have found are displayed on the left of the screen. To discover which
It's
of
like
these
they
codes
can't
controls
decide
Duke's
if this
bullets,
is
we need to try them out.
an accessible,
select one
fun,
of the codes.
consumer-facing
Then return to
product
the game
or
and fire some bullets.
like a debugging tool. They're not explaining it as either
Code that
very
doesn't
well.
allow our number of bullets to be reduced is the correct code.
Oh, I love Suit Wizard.
So now throughout this level, Duke's pistol bullets will remain at 47.
Thank you, Mayo.
Now we've found our code, we need to save it. To do this, switch your Nintendo console off, then on again. This takes you back into the GameShark Pro main menu. Here we're going to select Cheat Codes. Select New Game, then Edit Name. Enter the name of the game.
This looks so incredibly cumbersome.
Then select it from the game listing. Select New Code. Enter a name for the code. Then edit the code.
Doing all of this with an
The code you
N64
have found
controller.
appears at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Press C right to highlight the code, then press A to select it.
C right, of course.
Your code will now appear in the edit box.
What an intuitive UI.
Select exit and save, and your code is now permanently stored in your GameShark.
Is this our slow boat to China?
In some cases, you may not know the value you're looking for. For example, an energy bar shows no number.
I love the
demonstrate how you
Cuphead
would go about
ghost.
finding an unknown value of this type, we will use Midway's Mortal Kombat trilogy, where we'll look for player 1's health. From within the code generator menu, select Unknown Value Search. Select Start. This initiates GameShark's search. Here, we return to the game and lose some of player 1's health. Once we've done this, we press the freeze button and select Less Than Last. There are over 1 million possibilities, so we need to reduce this number to ideally around 20 possibilities. So we return to the game and lose some more health. Repeat the process as many times as necessary to obtain a manageable number of possibilities. In finding this code, we repeated this process 8 times until we had reduced the number of possibilities down to 26. Then by process of elimination, we deduce which is the code that affects player 1's health. Notice how player 1's health bar doesn't go down.
This is, yeah, like this
So
is
we simply
neat, but
save the
not...
newly found code in the way shown previously.
This is a case of like adding too many features to a consumer product.
So now you've seen how you can find and create your own simple codes.
This should be like
using the same methods,
buried
you
in
can go
the
on to discover extra
buried in the
characters,
menus
lives,
for-
and even create new game scenarios.
For pro users. I guess it is the GameShark Pro, and we're learning how to hack like a
Several
pro.
valid sources of the newest and oldest codes. We have a weekly updated 900 line, 1-900-773
A 900
Shark.
line.
There's a free access website, www.gameshark.com, and we publish a bi-monthly newsletter called Dangerous Waters. We also supply codes for your favourite video game magazines like Game Informer, EGM, Expert Gamer, and Tips and Tricks. Finally,
God,
Prima Publishing has
miss
released
video
two
game
official
magazines.
GameShark code books that sell in bookstores and game retailers nationwide.
Look for the following interact
Memory
products.
cards. Tiny, inconspicuous, small. With today's video games taking up more and more space on a memory card, gamers have less and less space to store all of those favorite game saves. Not to mention the amount of space you lose with the mountain of memory cards you have accumulated. Why choose which saves to keep and which to delete when the Dex Drive gives you the ability to store
Dex
all of your game
Drive.
saves on the biggest memory card created, your PC. Use the Dex Drive to email your best game saves to friends around the world, or download new game saves from the Dex Drive website. All of this power is available to you with the use of only one memory card. The Dex Drive is available for the Sony PlayStation and for the Nintendo.
I remember seeing like Dex Drive save files
It moves mountains.
on like GameFAQs and stuff, but I never had the thing.
Oh, look how this controller sparkles.
Ooh, the little brother controller.
Now this is the SuperPad 64 for the Nintendo 64 gaming console. Do you see how it's gold to match the huge hit Zelda Ocarina of Time? Oh, that's just
Ocarina
wonderful. You
of
know,
Time?
Janice, we've got a gold memory card to match. Oh, would you look at that? This is just perfect for anyone who really wants to look good with the matching controller and memory card. Plus, if you've got the gold Zelda card, you're going to stop traffic. Now, this is a limited edition item, so you better get them while they're around. The V3FX racing wheel coming soon for use with the Sony PlayStation and Nintendo 64. With the V3FX, you can... And don't forget that you can also... Actually, you can't do any of that with the V3FX, and we strongly recommend that you don't. But what you can do with the V3FX is experience all the hottest racing games with total control and ultimate comfort. Two powerful motors provide vibration feedback,
I'm
letting
kind
you
of
feel
speechless.
every jolt, turn, and impact.
This is very, very late 90s.
V3FX racing wheel for Sony PlayStation and Nintendo 64.
I kind of like how low budget it is.
Not to make salads.
They couldn't hire a voice actor to narrate it, so they just got a guy from The Office, and it sounds like they're just leaning into the fact that he's just a guy from The Office. You're on thin ice. Wow. Legal notice. GameShark and GameShark logos. Tiny Times New Roman on a VHS. Oh, boy. That was really great. I kind of want to watch that intro commercial again. Thank you, Brad, for sending this one in. That was really something. As is often the case on some of these tapes on Golden VCR, the beginning and end are the best part. And the stuff in the middle is very, very, well, 10 minutes can only be so much of a slog. It was fine. It was interesting from a historical context to see how poorly explained all of that stuff was. Boy. Let's look at random tapes. I think random is the way to go. Let's switch to unscreen. Let's exclude fitness. And let's, I'll go ahead and sort alphabetically. And random. Personal property video of Life's a Beach, Ocean Sands, Corolla, North Carolina. How long is this one? That's a pretty huge reel. I get the feeling it's not that, like there's not that much footage on that tape, but I can't be sure, so I'm going to skip it for now. I do really need a back button. Random. Complete course in professional photography, live action training. Interesting. I do want to see this one. But I'm trying to think if any of any friends or viewers would be interested in photography. Finding a Way Out of Depression, SmithKline Beecham Pharma. Contributed by the Bell Bunny. Great Moments in Basketball, sent in by Cosmic Searle. That one actually has a little bit of mold on it, I think. So I'm not sure yet what we're going to do with that. Mystery Tape, too long. That one again. Ghost Encounters of the God Kind. Great Splendors of the World, Splendors of Nature. Ooh, Temple of Deliverance. It's time that Satan gives it back. Hard Hat Harry. Actually, yeah. The randomness here is a good, ooh, basketball mold. Ugh, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm starting to feel a little tired and hungry, so I think the random is going to, I don't know if I want to watch any of these random selections right now, but this is actually a pretty fun way to like just go through at random and pick some of the ones that might look interesting. We've never watched the Tony Robbins tape. An Evening with Louis Grizzard, I definitely want to highlight at some point. I'll try and wait for Cosmic Searle to be here for that. Hard Hat Harry. The Viking one. Actually, do we want to do the Viking one? It's 30 minutes. What have we done? We'd be leaning pretty hard into like educational or technology. I don't know. Viking? Well, it's not Vikings. It's the Viking Mars rover. Okay. That's enough for us to have a poll, right? What else were we saying? Van Gogh or Viking? Poll. The tape. There's a poll. Ooh, Van Gogh is pulling ahead. But Viking can catch up. It's neck and neck. 6 for Van Gogh, 6 for Viking. Who's going to break the tie? Van Gogh pulls ahead. 7 to 6. And Viking gets another vote. 7 to 7. There's 46 viewers. 14 have voted. Get your votes in now. 8 to 7. 9 to 7. Van Gogh. Van Gogh is coming up. Oh, Van Gogh with a lead at the end for 10 votes to 7. It's Van Gogh. All right. A photo finish for Van Gogh. I'm going to go get Van Gogh. We're going to put it in the VCR. While I do that, though, we're going to watch that commercial one more time because I want to record it separately. So, whoops. Please insert a cassette. Thank you, VCR. Oh, just rewind slightly, and here we go. Be right back with Van Gogh.
Let's go. Where's the kid?
He's upstairs.
When they come to take your computer away, make sure you carry on like a crazed, bloodthirsty maniac.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Your hacking days are over.
No!
Because when they
This is just such a violent, advertisement for a video game peripheral.
I don't know what to tell you. You and your Shark Wire Online better be on a slow boat to China.
Hi!
Suddenly, you know too much.
Okay, I got a clean recording of that. And Van Gogh was not rewound. So I am rewinding it now in the tape rewinder. Van Gogh Passages explores 35 paintings, drawings, and watercolors by Vincent van Gogh in a distinctive way. The camera moves extremely close in on the detail of Van Gogh's brushwork, and is choreographed with a special music tracks, producing a unique perspective on the work. This tape is designed to be enjoyed over and over again in the same fashion as a favorite CD recording. The music includes, among others, selections from Mozart, Satie, Debussy, Dvorak, Mahler, and several light jazz pieces, revealing a universal language experienced in the images and sound. And we are rewound. This is Van Gogh Passages, produced and presented by the Van Gogh Museum, 32 minutes. Copyright 1996, Van Gogh Museum, artists up close. And this was sent in by Good Fortune Coffee. Thank you, Good Fortune Coffee. I'm not sure if they're around today, but hopefully they won't mind us screening this and we'll be able to catch the VOD. Original copy. Van Gogh Passages. VCR. And it is now time for a Ghost from Brad. That is a very distinctive art museum. I love the paintings up top that are like windows. On a slow boat to China to see the Van Gogh Museum. This is the Van Gogh Passages from the Van Gogh Museum. Ugh. I guess Duke Nukem is no longer a culturally relevant video game character. In a picture, I want to say something comforting, as music is comforting. Vincent van Gogh, 1888. Oh yeah, Steamboat Willie is copyright free now, right? The oldest Disney copyrights expire today. Oh yeah, William McCorkle. That was stream 2, I think. Let's crank up the music a little bit here. One. Etten, Den Haag, Drenthe. Yeah, so I guess we're meant to enjoy, we're enjoying the artworks of Vincent van Gogh in 480, with 480 scan lines per frame. Yeah, no, I think this is just kind of a mood piece. This is like a thing to put on at your refined cocktail parties. But yeah, like that line work on the dude's face. It's very important. Like, you look at this, you really can't appreciate much. When you take these great works of art and encode them onto videotape, it's a little difficult to appreciate, but at least the close-ups are neat. They have paired it with music that they feel fits the mood of the works. As we heard, this tape is designed to be enjoyed over and over again in the same fashion as a favorite CD recording. I know not that much about Van Gogh. Like, I learned... Would this have been, like 19th century art? Or romantic art? One of those classes we had a lot of art history classes in art school, unsurprisingly. So I know the stuff that everyone knows about Van Gogh. Like, he spent time institutionalized for mental illness. He cut his ear off. He painted Starry Night, like looking through the window in his cell. I mean, if we want narration, I can narrate this. I got Wikipedia, after all. Vincent van Gogh was born in 1853. So if he was still alive in 1970, that would have been pretty impressive. Apparently he died in 1890. Happy New Year, everyone. We're not spending enough time with these pieces for me to look them up and like find some background on them. And I don't know enough offhand about, you know, these particular works. But let's see. The music, this is very chill. Vincent Willem van Gogh was a Dutch post-impressionist painter who is among the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. In just over a decade, he created approximately 2,100 artworks, including around 860 oil paintings, most of them in the last 2 years of his life. They include landscapes, still lifes, portraits, and self-portraits, and are characterized by bold symbolic colors and dramatic, impulsive, and highly expressive brushwork that contributed to the foundations of modern art. Only one of his paintings was known by name to have been sold during his lifetime. Van Gogh became famous after his suicide at age 37, which followed years of poverty and mental illness. Would y'all like to hear more about Vincent van Gogh while we look at this beautiful artwork? Welcome back, Snow Fox. Hey, glad to have you here, Silver Dragon. Well, I want to learn more about Vincent van Gogh, so I'm going to continue reading his Wikipedia article. Born into an upper-middle-class family, Van Gogh drew as a child and was serious, quiet, and thoughtful, but showed signs of mental instability. As a young man, he worked as an art dealer, often traveling, but became depressed after he was transferred to London. He turned to religion and spent time as a missionary in southern Belgium. Later, he drifted in ill health and solitude. He was keenly aware of modernist trends in art, and while back with his parents, took up painting in 1881. His younger brother Theo supported him financially, and the two of them kept up a long correspondence by letter. I'm actually excited for the Share Fitness tape. Okay, so this is proceeding chronologically through his oeuvre. So let's see if I can catch up. Van Gogh's early works consisted mostly of still lifes and depictions of peasant laborers. In 1886, he moved to Paris, which is where we are now in the video, where he met members of the artistic avant-garde, including Émile Bernard and Paul Gauguin, who were both seeking new paths beyond Impressionism. Frustrated in Paris and inspired by a growing spirit of artistic change and collaboration, Van Gogh moved to Arles in southern France in February 1888 with the goal of establishing an artistic retreat and commune. Once there, Van Gogh's art changed. His paintings grew brighter, and he turned his attention to the natural world, depicting local olive groves, wheat fields, and sunflowers. Van Gogh invited Gauguin to join him in Arles, and eagerly anticipated his arrival in the fall of 1888. Van Gogh suffered from psychotic episodes and delusions. Though he worried about his mental stability, he often neglected his physical health, did not eat properly, and drank heavily. His friendship with Gauguin ended after a confrontation with a razor when, in a rage, he severed part of his own left ear. He spent time in psychiatric hospitals, which couldn't have been fun in the late 1800s, including a period at Saint-Remy. After he discharged himself and moved to the Auberge Raroux in Auvers-sur-Oise near Paris, he came under the care of the homeopathic doctor Paul Gachet. Oh no, poor Van Gogh. His depression persisted, and on 27th of July 1890, Van Gogh is believed to have shot himself in the chest with a revolver, dying from his injuries 2 days later. if you have depression, it's a serious thing that deserves to be treated. Maybe don't go to a homeopathic doctor for it. Yeah, we do have the How to Fix Your Depression VHS tape. That is the popular story about Van Gogh's ear, yeah. I don't know how much evidence there is for it. Van Gogh's art gained critical recognition after his death, and his life story captured public imagination as an emblem of misunderstood genius, due in large part to the efforts of his widowed sister-in-law, Johanna van Gogh Bonger. His bold use of color, expressive line, and thick application of paint inspired avant-garde artistic groups like the Favs and the German Expressionists in the early 20th century. Van Gogh's work gained widespread critical and commercial success in the following decades, and he has become a lasting icon of the romantic ideal of the tortured artist. Today, Van Gogh's works are among the world's most expensive paintings to have ever sold, and his legacy is honored by a museum in his name, the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, which holds the world's largest collections of his paintings and drawings, and which commissioned this videotape. What can we learn about his art? This is a very extensive Wikipedia biography. Here he is in Arles. Yeah, fair call on that. No hard feelings or anything, Brad. But I think that's a good line to establish. Let's not joke about suicide. Van Gogh drew and painted with watercolors while at school, but only a few examples survive, and the authorship of some has been challenged. When he took up art as an adult, he began at an elementary level. In early 1882, his uncle, Cornelis Marinus, owner of a well-known gallery of contemporary art in Amsterdam, asked for drawings of The Hague. Van Gogh's work did not live up to expectations. Marinus offered a second commission specifying the subject matter in detail, but was again disappointed with the result. Van Gogh persevered. He experimented with lighting in his studio using variable shutters and different drawing materials. For more than a year, he worked on single figures, highly elaborate studies in black and white, which at the time gained him only criticism. Later, they were recognized as early masterpieces. And my dad went to the Van Gogh interactive thing. It was in Birmingham for a while. He said it was really good. In August 1882, Theo gave Vincent money to buy materials for working on plein air. Vincent wrote that he could now go on painting with new vigor. From early 1883, he worked on multi-figure compositions. He had some of them photographed, but when his brother remarked that they lacked liveliness and freshness, he destroyed them and turned to oil painting. Van Gogh turned to well-known Hague School artists like Weissenbruch and Blomers, and he received technical advice from them as well as from painters like De Bock and Van der Wiele, both of the Hague School's second generation. He moved to Neuenen, and after a short period of time in Drenthe, began work on several large paintings, but destroyed most of them. The Potato Eaters and its companion pieces are the only ones to have survived. Following a visit to the Rijksmuseum, Van Gogh wrote of his admiration for the quick, economical brushwork of the Dutch masters, especially Rembrandt and Frans Hals. He was aware many of his faults were due to lack of experience and technical expertise. So in November 1885, he traveled to Antwerp and later Paris to learn and develop his skills. That really makes you feel for the guy. Like when you're learning a creative thing, when you're developing your skills, it's not gonna live up to your expectations. Like, it's not gonna be perfect. There are gonna be shortcomings. And I think we can all identify with the temptation of, like, just feeling so disheartened that you're, the person who commissioned it, or your brother, or the critics that you look up to, criticize it harshly, and then you just want to destroy it all. Even Vincent van Gogh felt that way. Theo criticized the Potato Eaters for its dark palette, which he thought unsuitable for a modern style. During Van Gogh's stay in Paris between 1886 and 1887, he tried to master a new, lighter palette. His portrait of Père Tanguy shows his success with the brighter palette and is evidence of an evolving personal style. Charles Blanc's treatise on color interested him greatly and led him to work with complementary colors. Van Gogh came to believe that the effect of color went beyond the descriptive. He said that color expresses something in itself. According to Hughes, Van Gogh perceived color as having a psychological and moral weight, as exemplified in the garish reds and greens of the Night Café, a work he wanted to express the terrible passions of humanity. Yellow meant the most to him because it symbolized emotional truth. He used yellow as a symbol for sunlight, life, and God. Van Gogh strove to be a painter of rural life and nature. During his first summer in Arles, he used his new palette to paint landscapes and traditional rural life. His belief that a power existed behind the natural led him to try to capture a sense of that power, or the essence of nature, in his art, sometimes through the use of symbols. His renditions of the Sower, at first copied from Jean-François Millet, reflect the influence of Thomas Carlyle and Friedrich Nietzsche's thoughts on the heroism of physical labor, as well as Van Gogh's religious beliefs. The sower as Christ sowing life beneath the hot sun. These were themes and motifs he returned to often to rework and develop. His paintings of flowers are filled with symbolism, but rather than use traditional Christian iconography, he made up his own, where life is lived under the sun and work is an allegory of life. In Arles, having gained confidence after painting spring blossoms and learning to capture bright sunlight, he was ready to paint the sower. Van Gogh stayed within what he called the guise of reality and was critical of overly stylized works. He wrote afterwards that the abstraction of Starry Night had gone too far and that reality had receded too far in the background. Hughes describes it as a moment of extreme visionary ecstasy. The stars are in a great whirl, reminiscent of Hokusai's great wave. The movement in the heaven above is reflected by the movement of the cypress on the earth below, and the painter's vision is translated into a thick, emphatic plasma of paint. That's right, Van Gogh and other artists of his time were like hugely influenced by like Japanese prints and Japanese, fabric patterns and designs that were kind of flooding into Europe, thanks to the expansion of Japanese trade with the West around that time. So if I remember right, like he was really into Japanese art, and wood-block prints and things. Between 1885 and his death in 1890, Van Gogh appears to have been building an oeuvre, a collection that reflected his personal vision and could be commercially successful. He was influenced by Blanc's definition of style, that a true painting required optimal use of color, perspective, and brushstrokes. Van Gogh applied the word purposeful to paintings he thought he had mastered, as opposed to those he thought of as studies. He painted many series of studies, most of which were still lifes, many executed as color experiments or as gifts to friends. The work in Arles contributed considerably to his oeuvre. Those he thought the most important from that time were The Sower, Night Café, Memory of the Garden in Etten, and Starry Night. With their broad brushstrokes, inventive perspectives, colors, contours, and designs, these paintings represent the style he sought. Glaçons. Ooh, what can we learn about Van Gogh's paintings of flowers? Van Gogh painted several landscapes with flowers, including roses, lilacs, irises, and sunflowers. Some reflect his interests in the language of color, and also in Japanese ukiyo-e. There are two series of dying sunflowers. The first was painted in Paris in 1887 and shows flowers lying on the ground. The second set was completed a year later in Arles and is of bouquets in a vase positioned in early morning light. Both are built from thickly layered paintwork, which according to the London Natural Gallery, evoke the texture of seed heads. It's amazing how much has been written about Van Gogh and his work. In his series of paintings of flowers, Van Gogh was not preoccupied by his usual interest in filling his paintings with subjectivity and emotion. Rather, the two series are intended to display his technical skill and working methods to Gauguin, who was about to visit. The 1888 paintings were created during a rare period of optimism for the artist. Vincent wrote to Theo in August 1888, "I'm painting with the gusto of a Marseillais eating bouillabaisse, which won't surprise you when it's a question of painting large sunflowers. If I carry out this plan..." Ah, there is something of Rembrandt in the Gospel, or something of the Gospel in Rembrandt. If I carry out this plan, there'll be a dozen or so panels. The whole thing will therefore be a symphony in blue and yellow. I work on it all these mornings from sunrise, because the flowers wilt quickly, and it's a matter of doing the whole thing in one go. I find this very relaxing, too. I'm not sure if me reading the Wikipedia article is really adding to the relaxation. We can also just vibe with it. Well, let's see then, where are we? I guess his most famous work is Starry Night. Starry Night. The Starry Night, or De Sterre Nacht in Dutch, is an oil-on-canvas painting by the Dutch post-impressionist painter Vincent van Gogh. Painted in June 1889, it depicts the view from the east-facing window of his asylum room at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence just before sunrise, with the addition of an imaginary village. It has been in the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City since 1941, acquired through the Lily P. Bliss bequest. Widely regarded as Van Gogh's magnum opus, The Starry Night is one of the most recognizable paintings in Western art. And we've had some gift subs come through. Thank you so much to Green Day Rock, who has given 5 gift subs to the community. Those go to Chris Hartnett, Silvercates, V. Croaky, Grapes at a Base, and Aldo512. Much obliged for your generosity in supporting the channel and bringing these new subscribers in. Thank you all for being here. The Asylum. In the aftermath of a December 23, 1888 breakdown that resulted in the self-mutilation of his left ear, Van Gogh voluntarily admitted himself to the Saint Paul de Marceau Lunatic Asylum on the 8th of May, 1889. Housed in a former monastery, Saint Paul de Marceau catered to the wealthy and was less than half full when Van Gogh arrived, allowing him to occupy not only a second-story bedroom, but also a ground-floor room for use as a painting studio. Okay, so I guess it was like the Betty Ford Clinic of its day. Like a mental institution for the rich and famous. Although I'm sure it was still horrible in a lot of ways. During the year, Van Gogh stayed at the asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. The prolific output of his paintings he had begun in Arles continued. During this period, he produced some of the best-known works of his career, including the Irises from May 1889, now in the J. Paul Getty Museum, and the Blue Self-Portrait from September 1889 in the Musée d'Orsay. I think I've seen both of those in person. The Starry Night was painted mid-June, by around the 18th of June, the date he wrote to his brother Theo to say he had a new study of a starry sky. Although The Starry Night was painted during the day in Van Gogh's ground-floor studio, it would be inaccurate to state that the picture was painted from memory. The view has been identified as the one from his bedroom window facing east, a view which Van Gogh painted variations of no fewer than 21 times, including The Starry Night. Through the iron-barred window, he wrote to his brother Theo around the 23rd of May, 1889, I can see an enclosed square of wheat, above which, in the morning, I watch the sun rise in all its glory. Van Gogh depicted the view at different times of day and under various weather conditions, such as the sunrise, moonrise, sunshine-filled days, overcast days, windy days, and one day with rain. While the hospital staff did not allow Van Gogh to paint in his bedroom, he was able there to make sketches in ink or charcoal on paper. Eventually, he would base newer variations on previous versions. The pictorial element uniting all of these paintings is the diagonal line coming in from the right, depicting the low rolling hills of the Alpilles Mountains. In 15 of the 21 versions, cypress trees are visible beyond the far wall enclosing the wheat field. Van Gogh exaggerated their size in 6 of these paintings, most notably in F717 Wheat Field with Cypresses, and The Starry Night, bringing the trees closer to the picture plane. Wow, I had no idea that he did 21 separate paintings from this window. One of the first paintings of that view was the F611 Mountainous Landscape Behind Saint-Rémy, now in Copenhagen. Van Gogh made a number of sketches for this painting, of which F1547, the enclosed wheat field after a storm, is typical. Man, it's like Mozart, where he was so prolific that there's like a modern numbering system for identifying his works. It is unclear whether the painting was made in his studio or outside. In his 9th of June letter describing it, he mentions he had been working outside for a few days. Van Gogh described the second of the two landscapes he mentions he was working on in a letter to his sister Ville on the 16th of June, 1889. This is F719 Green Wheat Field with Cypress, now in Prague, and the first painting at the asylum he definitely painted in plein air. An unposted letter found it on his body. Wow. That was very neat. I would definitely put that on my VCR at a cocktail party at my luxurious mansion. The music that they chose for that was very, very good. It's not this format of watching Ken Burns effect animations on VHS quality video of paintings is not my preferred way of enjoying fine art, but it was a very interesting look at a lot of Van Gogh art that I had never seen before. I feel like that really brought my blood pressure down. I feel a lot calmer now. I really gotta listen to classical music while reading in a soft voice more often. Okay, new stream format. I'm throwing all these videotapes in the garbage. We're just gonna turn on classical music and I'm gonna read Wikipedia articles. 6 hours a day, every day. Whew. Thank you for that. Thank you for joining me on that journey. Let's see. I suppose I could do one more. I kind of want to, take a shower and go to Waffle House or something. But I could do one more. Let's see what our options are. I'm not doing Taibo right now. It's going to counteract all of my soothing work. No Navy SEALs. No deer hunting. No buttercream gang. It's true, you don't need a shower to go to Waffle House. I missed Waffle House quite a lot when I lived in San Diego and LA. Although there were some really good diners in LA that I now miss in hindsight. We've seen a lot of these. Let's use that. Actually, let's sort by runtime. Our longest tape that has a confirmed runtime is Discovering Jesus, which is also, I think, or no, it's not. Our longest tape is Discovering Jesus at 4 hours. And our newest tape is Day of Discovery Video Club, The Miracles of Jesus, from 2007. But let's see. A lot of these tapes don't have confirmed runtimes or years because it's not listed anywhere on the tape. But let's see. China at the Crossroads. We haven't had any Jesus this stream, have we? I mean, there is a Donut Man tape. Oh, Bella, that's a very ominous statement coming from you. I have a couple of two-tapers, in fact. Where there's a will, there's an A is a big, like, clamshell thing that has two parts. Oh, the Chinese soap operas. I'm so excited for that. I mentioned at the start of a stream that while we were up at Haley's parents' house, I raided their collection of videotapes and found some neat stuff, like Haley's dad's park service training tapes and, like, TV news appearances and, like, updates to the state legislature about projects in the park that he managed. And a while back, Haley's parents were around and we were talking, and they said they had, like, a family friend who was originally from Liberia who had, like, loaned them these tapes of a Liberian soap opera at one point, and I was, like, really excited for that, but they gave those tapes back to their friend. They no longer have them, which is a real shame. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I either want to watch something that's just really chill, because we don't have to. There's no rules here. I'm making the rules. We don't have to, like, mix in a little variety of everything on every single Red Skelton. Eyewitness the Ocean. Okay, Bella, we'll do it. We'll do it. Eyewitness Ocean. That seems good to me. So, yeah, I'm glad people have enjoyed the new features on the website. I didn't realize how useful it would be to be able to, like, filter and search and everything. So we have watched Reptile, sent in by Pizza Party. We have three new Eyewitness tapes that Brad was kind enough to send in. Ocean, Pond and River, and Planets. We can do Ocean, but we can do any of these three. What if we do a poll? Would you be open to a poll, Bella, or do you desperately want to do Ocean? Awesome. Before you vote, let's see. Ocean is narrated by Andrew Sachs, whereas the other Eyewitness tapes, I believe, are all narrated by Martin Sheen. Yeah, narrated by Martin Sheen, Pond and River. Planets is... oh, wait. Planets is also narrated by Andrew Sachs. So Ocean and Planets are Andrew Sachs, Pond and River is Martin Sheen. Whatever you want to do with that information. Witness me. Ocean, Planet, or River with Sheen. I want Martin Sheen personally, but I wouldn't mind hearing what Andrew Sachs sounds like. Oh, it's J-Spook's Penguin again. Excellent. Thank you for the ghosts. As a reminder to everyone, you can send ghosts at any time. If you have Golden VCR Fun Points, you can do that from goldenvcr.com once you've signed in with your Twitch account. If you don't have Golden VCR Fun Points, the quickest way to get them is to cheer with bits. The slowest way to get them is to send a bunch of videotapes to me in the mail. For, let's see. Ooh, another penguin. How's our poll doing? Ocean wins. All right. As Oh, so many ghosts. Thank you for the ghosts. Is this a French horn penguin? Is this a flugelhorn penguin? Is this a sousaphone penguin? I think part of that tuba is made out of dryer duct. Is that Andy Warhol as a zombie holding a penguin? Oh, it's David Bowie holding a penguin. Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, so at goldenvcr.com, once you log in, you can see your balance of Golden VCR fun points here. You can also pull up like a ledger of all the transactions that have ever been made with Golden VCR fun points, which in hindsight is kind of unnecessary as a feature, but I wanted to do it. And then you can type in like a penguin eating another much smaller penguin and submit that. And then it will appear on stream. For the low, low price of 200 Golden VCR fun points, which have no monetary value. We love penguins. We love penguins so much. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. I got distracted by all the beautiful penguins. Ooh. A shiny chrome penguin. Rendered on a 1980s computer, I hope. Excellent. Okay. Thank you all for the ghosts. I'm going to go get Eyewitness. What did we say? Ocean? Ocean 1, right? Ocean 1. It was Ocean? Yeah, it was Ocean. That was the most Tux-like penguin I think we've seen. We're getting a lot of good penguins. Yeah, also, yeah, I agree with you. That's a. This has to be two separate browser sources in OBS. So one is like normal blending mode, and one is overlay. And so the overlay is just like screened on top of the black parts, and so I have to fix some stuff with that. It's a little annoying to get it to work. But yes, it absolutely should be more readable. The website, like I mentioned, I did some stuff with this tapes page. The next thing I really want to do is take another pass at this page and make like viewing the ghosts more pleasant and stuff. So yeah, this has been a fun project. Anyway, I'm gonna go get Oceans. Jeez, Oceans. I'm getting hungry. BRB. We love the milk tape. The milk wrap was excellent. Eyewitness Ocean has been rewound. Let's do it. Cosmic Penguin. '80s Ray Trace Galactic. That's pretty good. It did pretty good with that. Welcome to Eyewitness Ocean. Oh, the theme song. Here we go. You may have noticed that there's always a piano behind me. I don't play that. It's a very, like, atrophied hobby of mine. So maybe I need to learn to play this Eyewitness theme song on the piano. That would be fun.
Oceans. They cover 2/3 of the surface of the Earth.
Oh my God, it's a Martin Sheen
For centuries,
sound-alike.
humans have been able to do little more than skim across the ceiling of this alien world. Most of it remained tantalizingly out of reach.
Phil Sachs. Man. So these are later. This is a tape from an Eyewitness tape from 1997. I think the
Creatures
first
of
one
the
we
deep
watched
were
was
shrouded in
94.
mystery, surrounded by myths of lost cities, mermaids, and monsters.
Why didn't they get Joe Estevez, famous brother of Martin Sheen? That's maybe a little loud. All right.
Over the last 150 years, we have explored ever deeper into the ocean.
It sounds like they hired a voice actor and told him to do
Since
a
then,
Martin
our
Sheen
knowledge
impression.
of this hidden world has been steadily rising. But we began on the surface, staring at an endless horizon. So what is an ocean? An ocean is quite simply a large expanse of water. Today, there are 5 of them. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and made up almost entirely of ice. The Southern Ocean completely surrounds the continent of Antarctica. Next is the Indian Ocean, with the warmest sea on Earth. The Atlantic is so big, it would cover the continents of Africa and Europe and still have room to spare. But even this is dwarfed by the largest ocean of all, the Pacific. It covers 1/3 of the globe. Parts of it are 35,000 feet deep. That's 29 Empire State Buildings piled up. In ancient times, people had little idea about the huge scale of the oceans. The Greeks believed a river ran around the edge of the world, surrounding a single landmass. They called the river Ocean.
I did not know that was the origin of the word ocean.
People thought the Earth was flat, and that if they traveled too far, they would be dragged over the edge by a huge waterfall. The Earth was never flat, but its surface has changed much over billions of years. Soon after it was formed, the Earth began to cool. Clouds formed, and rain gradually filled the oceans. Much later, land formed into a single continent called Pangaea, surrounded by one vast ocean called Panthalassa, meaning all sea. Ever since, the rocks of the Earth's crust have been shifting to produce the continents as we know them today, and the oceans have formed between them.
Come on, Indian subcontinent. Boom. Smack right into your
Under
radar.
the waves, the Earth is still restless. Deep beneath the Atlantic, hidden under 2 miles of water, molten rock bubbles out of the ground. It has formed a mountain range longer than the Himalayas, the Rockies, and the Andes combined. Called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, it is a sign of growth. The Atlantic is actually getting wider each year.
Plate tectonics is surprisingly cool. How much stems from that theory.
It may be a slow process, but it all adds up. If Christopher Columbus made his voyage today, he'd find the ocean stretched further by a whole ship's length. Where there is growth, there must also be shrinkage, or the Earth would burst open. The shrinkage happens at the deepest points on Earth, or trenches. Here, one part of the crust slides under another, carrying the rock down into the heart of the planet. Around Hawaii, the ocean is so deep that if you add its depth to the height of the peak above, Mauna Kea, you discover the highest mountain on Earth. But despite millions of years of change, the oceans remain linked in one vast mass. Wherever you are on the planet, dip your toe in the water and you are connected to every ocean.
See you, Brad. Thanks for being here, and thanks again for
Considering the scale
submitting
of the
so many
ocean,
wonderful
it's
tapes
a
like
wonder
this.
that this planet is not called water instead of Earth.
Haha, water.
Oceans are where life began and the source of the water that sustains all life. They contain 99% of the living space on the
imagine
planet.
naming a
the living
river
space
ocean
providing homes
and
for
naming
the
your
most
planet
remarkable
water?
creatures. There's a huge variety of life in the ocean, many more groups of animals than on land. The startling colors of coral may resemble flower gardens, but these submarine cities are made up of billions upon billions of tiny creatures. Although they are small, coral have created the largest structure on the planet made by living things, Australia's Great Barrier Reef.
We love penguins.
The largest fish is the whale shark, reaching 60 feet long, but this huge creature eats mostly tiny plankton. And some smaller fish join forces to create an impression of size. These shoals contain tens of thousands of fish, all swimming together to confuse
God,
predators.
diving around down there with all that marine life seems like it might be dangerous.
There's a complex food pyramid.
I wonder if I have any friends I could
base
call
are plankton,
to
countless
help me
tiny
with that
plants and animals.
marine safety. Perhaps Dan could help me.
These are in turn eaten by thousands of fish, which may provide a meal for a single whale, the largest creatures on Earth.
Whenever you need Dan, Dan is there for you.
The color of the ocean always seems blue, because other colors penetrate water less easily. Red light travels the least distance. And even blue light can only reach down 1,500 feet. Below this, the waters are dark, and until recently we believed devoid of life. How wrong we were.
Spooky fish.
Like light, we were excluded from the depths, and for centuries the oceans were a barrier to exploration, even on the surface. Legend has it that the Egyptians and Phoenicians found it impossible to defeat the currents of the Mediterranean until the invention of the sail, nearly 8,000 years ago. In ancient times, the power of the oceans was attributed to gods, like the Greek Poseidon, who rode in a carriage drawn by dolphins. Sea creatures were said to dance at his passing. In early voyages around 1000 AD, the Vikings may have been the first to discover America, but such journeys were rare. The great civilizations of the world remained isolated. For early civilizations, maps were virtually
Those
useless.
penguins are trying their
although
best.
by the time of Ptolemy, the Greeks had changed their thinking.
Seems about the
Instead of a central landmass,
acrobatic
his
limits
map
of
shows the ocean
penguins.
completely surrounded by land. By 1519, the map of the world began to resemble the picture we have now. In that year, Magellan set off on his 3-year voyage, the first circumnavigation of the globe, which proved at last that all the oceans were joined. Early explorations were fueled by trade. Huge profits could be made by transporting exotic goods and spices, with ships able to carry far more than any land transport. Even today, 95% of world trade still travels by sea.
I'm not even really that into like NFL football,
But as voyages extended around the world,
But as someone who married into a
the
pro-packer
oceans and their
family,
inhabitants remain
I welcome any
mysterious.
and all Viking.
Sailors turned sea creatures into
Haunting.
monsters, with tall tales of huge beasts with names like the Kraken and Hydra. Our understanding of ocean chemistry was also rather shallow. For centuries, people believed a thin layer of salt water rested on top of a mass of fresh water. In the 1660s, scientists finally analyzed samples from the deep ocean and concluded that all the water in the ocean is salty.
God, we used to know so much less stuff.
There
We
is
didn't
so
know about
much
plate tectonics
You
until
could
the
extract all of
60s.
it from the ocean, it would cover every
We've only
bit of
known that
land
the ocean
to a
is all
depth of
salt
5
water
feet.
for like
We'd all be up
100
to our
years.
necks. Saltiness varies throughout the oceans, and the more salt, the more buoyant
That's the most
water.
admirable kind of
People on
fan.
the Dead
to
Sea, the saltiest sea
continue
on
being a
Earth.
fan even when your team sucks. Being able to acknowledge how much your team sucks.
By the 1670s, an Italian scientist showed in a simple test that saltiness is one factor in keeping the oceans on the move.
We're learning
Using a divided
about
tank
the
with
oceans
salty water-colored blue and lighter, fresher water
from
left
Eyewitness
clear,
Ocean,
he showed that the
featuring
denser salty
discount
water will
Martin
seep
Sheen,
under lighter fresh water,
who's not even an
breaking it up
Estevez.
and creating circular flows.
They had so many Estevezes they could have hired, and they hired Phil Dix or whatever his name is.
Many animals hitch rides on
Sorry,
ocean
Andrew
currents.
Sachs.
One of the
not
oldest
Phil
creatures
Dix.
on Earth, the blue shark, uses the Gulf Stream on its North Atlantic journey in search of food. They travel thousands of miles with their young around the ocean, returning in time to breed.
Yeah, we've discovered so much in recent times, and I think that should be an opportunity for us to reflect on how much we still don't
Currents
know.
present a problem to plants and creatures that want to stay still.
Because 100 years ago they were like, we know everything.
Kelp are actually an anchor to hold the
And
plant
now
in
we're like,
place.
we know everything.
Standing currents that are the equivalent of an underwater gale.
But we never really do.
Holding on with their tails are delicate seahorses. They are among the slowest of all fish and cannot swim against the current, so the tail becomes an anchor. At his desk in Washington in the 1840s, Matthew Fontaine Maury also liked to stay put. Known as the Pathfinder of the Seas, he studied thousands of ships' logs, worked out their speed in different conditions, and created the first ever comprehensive charts of wind and current.
God, that's some
Their
really
impact was immediate. Sailing times
labor-intensive
across the
manual
oceans
data
were slashed
analysis.
by up to a third. Novel methods have been employed to track the shifting seas. In the 1800s, thousands of bottles were released into the Atlantic. Each one had a note asking the finder to return to sender, making it possible to chart the currents. The original message in a bottle. A clue to the direction of the currents exists in the drain of every wash basin in the world. North of the equator, the water disappears in a clockwise direction. But travel through an imaginary pipe to the southern hemisphere, and you'll find the same spiral
I think
appears
there are
to move
easier ways of
counterclockwise.
getting to Australia.
The same is true of the ocean currents because it's the spin of the Earth that determines the water's movement. Water takes 3,000 times more energy to heat than air, and it takes longer to grow cold. So water stays warm even as it flows to the poles, smoothing out temperature differences like a global thermostat. Where hot and cold air meet, terrible storms may develop, unleashing the mighty force of the ocean. The highest wave ever recorded was 1.5 times the height of Niagara Falls. In the 19th century, we discovered that it's the wave that moves, not the water. An object floating in open sea will move in a circle back to its original position as a wave passes. It's a different matter, of course, at the shore, that area repeatedly covered and uncovered by the tides. As levels of land and sea have shifted over thousands of years, even greater areas have been uncovered,
Thanks,
leaving
Joe.
fossils of sea creatures high and dry. And cities flooded, like Atlantis, the legendary city forever hidden in the water. Levels of the ocean vary with the Earth's changing temperature. The slightest temperature rise, just half a degree, would expand the ocean and melt enough ice to cause flooding around the world. Currently, more than a tenth of the water on the planet is locked up in the ice caps, forbidding places for humans, but many animals have adapted to the cold. The Weddell seal is the most southerly mammal,
Oh,
thriving
seals.
in the Antarctic freeze.
We love seals here.
In the
and
winter,
we
it
love
spends
penguins.
most of its time submerged because the water below the ice stays warmer than the air above.
I'd like to see those damn Canadians get out to hit those seals.
The oceans abound with life, and humans have always harvested their riches. For centuries, fishermen relied on luck as much as skill in finding the best catch. Eventually, they learnt the habits of ocean creatures. Dolphin often swim above tuna, so humans tagged along to find their catch. But for years, they would accidentally kill the dolphin as
Listen.
well as the tuna.
The only seal tape we have currently in the collection is Seabird, which Brad sent in. So I don't know why
Modern fishing
y'all are
methods
getting
have become far
worried
more
about seals.
sophisticated in targeting their catch. They are now so effective that in some areas, they threaten to fish the oceans clean. The first confirmation of life throughout the deep came in the 1870s, when the ship HMS Challenger, equipped with the latest technology, made the first full-scale study of the ocean. Temperatures at different depths were measured, and nearly 4,500 new species of plants and animals were collected. The voyage proved conclusively that there was abundant life in the ocean depths. To find their position at sea, early sailors relied on measuring latitude from the stars, using a sextant, and longitude from the sun's altitude at certain times of the day. But knowing the time at sea was an inexact science. In the 18th century, clocks used pendulums, and the motion of a ship made these very unreliable.
Thankfully, the
It
Casio
only
watch
with the
was
invention
invented.
of the chronometer that the problem of longitude was conquered. The pendulum was replaced by an escapement wheel, and as a byproduct, the world gained a more accurate watch. Early efforts to measure depth relied on a cannonball and rope. Hardly accurate when the line itself was heavy enough to keep playing out even after the shot hit bottom. A real case of how long is a piece of string. Today, depth is measured by sonar, like the echolocation used by dolphins. The oceans can be very noisy. The shrimp clicks with such frequency that it creates its very own sonar static.
An Aussie.
Sound travels 5 times further in water than in air. Very effective for keeping in touch.
Maritime phrase tug
The humpback
tays.
whale's mating call is believed to be the acoustic equivalent
I
of
guess
the peacock,
tug tays can be a little
announcing the
lewd depending on
presence
how
of
you
a male
interpret it.
to the
Thank you, Will
female.
Peters. It does seem very good at watering down your prompt.
Thanks to the
make
distant
it,
sound
to make sure that it's not
males can
objectionable
start
if
singing
it
while they're
detects anything
still
that might be
hundreds of miles
objectionable.
away from the females. Although the song they sing keeps changing, all humpbacks of the same pod sing a similar song. Maybe they're just following the latest musical trends. No one, however, seems able to fathom the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. In this corner of the Atlantic Ocean, strange things happen to instruments. Whales lose their sense of direction, and there have been over 140 cases in which boats and aircraft have just vanished. There are just as many theories about where they have all gone. Some suggest they've traveled in time. Centuries ago, people believed that some animals would literally disappear for a while each year. A phenomenon we know today is migration. Turtles are among the greatest voyagers. Leatherbacks follow the currents and their food, jellyfish, thousands of miles from the West Indies, past Europe, and up to the Arctic. Humans have used the oceans to migrate too. Among the earliest were the Polynesians, who crisscrossed the Pacific.
Hey, we do get a
visiting
mention of
every island, big or
Polynesians.
small, except it seems Australia. More recently, hundreds of thousands of Europeans crossed the Atlantic to America. This route gave rise to a famous ocean race, the Blue Ribbon, awarded for the fastest crossing.
Hey, Thomas.
In the 1830s, the Great Western took 15 days, but by 1986, this had been trimmed to just 3.5 days. Nautical speed has always been measured in knots, because sailors would count the knots in a rope as it passed through their hands into the water from a ship, as the sand in a timer ran out. For humans to explore the deep ocean, they needed a protective shell. One of the first was Halley's diving bell, dating back to 1690. A wooden cask with an open bottom, it allowed scientists to descend in their own air bubble and study life to a depth of just 60 feet.
Love getting the
In the
bends.
1830s, Augustus Zeber's hard helmeted divers, looking more like astronauts than sailors, could go down to 200 feet, limited by the umbilical link to a ship above. Exploration in the 19th century prompted authors to dust off tales of underwater adventure,
Really
beasts
just makes
and
me think
monsters.
of BioShock now.
Jules Verne and H.G. Wells set a fashion that filmmakers would be eager to follow, doing their best to recreate the drama of the deep. In 1943, it was Jacques Cousteau's invention of the scuba, standing for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, that finally allowed us to fathom this new world untethered. But the first scuba dives only got us to a depth of 160 feet.
Deeper. We must go deeper.
A seal is able to dive straight off land
Seals,
and
you
down
say?
into the depths. But humans can't. We must spend time
Why, I
adjusting to
love
the pressure.
seals.
And below certain depths, that pressure is just too much.
Oh no, think of what that would
How
do to
much?
a poor seal.
At the deepest
It
point
goes
of the
through
ocean, the pressure is the equivalent of a human trying to support 50 jumbo jets. Which makes the discovery of animals at these depths even more amazing. These creatures have adapted to the pressure with lightweight bones and muscles, and their skin is so fine that they literally disintegrate if we bring them to the surface. In the 1930s, two Americans, Beebe and Barton, set a new record for deep-sea diving, protected from the pressure in a bathysphere, named for the Greek words for deep ball. They reached 3,000 feet. We could finally observe life in the darkness of the depths. The deeper we went, the more we discovered. Cut off from any glimmer of sunlight, down here most creatures are able to make their own light, perhaps to dazzle predators or act as camouflage. Combined with lights from an exploring vessel, it makes some of them, like these comb jellies, look more like spacecraft than animals.
The deep ocean is very spooky.
And strangely enough, we knew the distance to the moon years before we knew the depth of the ocean. It took a scientist from landlocked Switzerland to invent a craft capable of reaching the deepest point on Earth, the depth of over 35,000 feet. In 1960, Auguste Piccard's vessel, the Trieste, reached the bottom of the Marianas Trench in the Pacific. It's like going down more than 3,000 floors in an elevator.
Oh boy.
And
What
here
is
in
happening?
1977, in the depths of our
Hawaii
planet,
Vampire
was a
Squid Anime
surprise,
Girl, yeah.
a challenge to our understanding of biology. Life evolving without light.
I guess it's seen a lot of Splatoon
Somehow bacteria
fan art.
were living on hydrogen sulfide gas emitted by deep sea vents. And that bacteria became food for other creatures.
Tiny crab.
Photosynthesis had a rival, chemosynthesis. We may have finally reached the deepest point on Earth, but only 1/20th of the ocean floor has been mapped. There may be millions of new species in the regions that remain hidden. But such findings will have to await some future journey. We are only visitors to this world, and in returning to our world, we can be sure of only one thing. Our knowledge of the deep is still little more than a drop in the ocean.
Ah, I love the 90s 3D animation. What? They're really wilding out on that sax. Did Phil Sachs even get a credit there? I wonder if there's a little featurette. If it's the same featurette, we may not watch it. Or maybe there's nothing. When we watched Eyewitness Reptile, they had a little making of segment. Nope. Oh, boy. That was quite lovely. Even if it didn't have the real Martin Sheen. Well then. We have watched ourselves some new tapes. Thank you all for being here for this. If you missed any of these tapes, you can find them on the VOD, which I will upload and should be ready by the end of the day or tomorrow maybe. We watched the Durango and Silverton Railroad, narrated by C.W. McCall. We got the nice Silverton song. Computer animation magic was an absolute highlight. This one was really good. We had GameShark Pro, some very 90s advertisement. We just kind of chilled out with Van Gogh, and I had a really nice time with that, just reading Wikipedia and Eyewitness Ocean. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to go to the post office tomorrow because Bella Bunny and I believe some other folks have sent in tapes. Yeah, I'll be adding those to the collection soon. So, let's see. I don't believe anyone I know is streaming. So I think we'll just call it quits. Roll the outro and call it quits. Oh, thank you, Green Deer. And I saw, I saw in Discord, Deb, your thrift store finds. It's gonna be good. Okay. Don't autoplay. There's no way to make it not autoplay. Maybe I'll submit a pull request. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And the next stream should be this coming Wednesday at 10 a.m. So I'll see you then if you're around for that. Happy New Year. Hope your 2024 is excellent. See you around.